Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera. Yang berbahagia, Encik Ching Xiaoyang, Pre-Sales Manager Wuhan Fiber Home International Malaysia Sdn Bhd. Yang berusaha, Encik Zarif Nakiuddin bin Abdul Munid, Ketua Jabatan Kejuruteraan Elektrik. Yang berusaha, Encik Muhammad At-Tarmizi bin Abu Hassan, Ketua Program Diploma Kejuruteraan Elektronik Komunikasi, pensyarah-pensyarah dan pelajar-pelajar yang dikasihi sekalian. Selamat datang saya ucapkan kepada semua peserta. Terima kasih kerana sudi menghadiri sesi webinar pada hari ini. Saya, Nur Hidayah binti Muhammad Adnan, merupakan moderator webinar hari ini. Bagi memberkati sesi webinar pada hari ini, saya ingin menjemput Saudara Al-Hafiz untuk bacaan doa. Dipersilakan.
Terima kasih, mulakan bacaan doa dengan bacaan Al-Mulmul Kitab Al-Fatihah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi zidni ilman warzuqni fahman. Subhanaka la ilma lana ilma illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina azabannar. Wa sallallahu ala Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Walhamdulillahirabbil alamin.
Terima kasih Saudara Al-Hafiz di atas bacaan doa itu tadi. Seterusnya, dijemput yang berusaha Encik Zarif Nakiuddin bin Abdul Munid selaku Ketua Jabatan Kejuruteraan Elektrik untuk menyampaikan ucapan anwar. Persilakan.
Baik, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan selamat sejahtera kepada semua. Pertama sekali di pagi ini kita diberi kesempatan untuk berkumpul dalam satu majlis webinar seminar secara web yang bertajuk How Cellular Communication Impacting the Telecommunication Ecosystem and Pushing Market Increase in IoT. Untuk pertama sekali saya ucapkan terima kasih kepada moderator majlis Puan Nur Hidayah binti Muhammad Adnan. Pertama saya maklum-alukanlah penceramah pada pagi ini Cik Ching Xiaoyang, Pre-Sales Manager di Fiber Home Malaysia International Sdn Bhd, kerana dapat sudi hadir pada pagi ini. Pertama sekali aluan-aluan ni diberikan, pertama sekali nak menghargai tuan penceramah akan hadir. Tidaklah bermaksud untuk menjadikan program ini terlalu formal lah untuk penceramah. So tak perlu terlampau formal lah. Yang penting dari segi interaksi dan dari segi ilmu tu kita dapat sampaikan lah kepada para pelajar dan pensyarah. Okey, saya ucapkan terima kasih lah kepada penceramah kerana hadir pada pagi ini, memberi satu tempoh yang agak sedikit panjang sepagi ini, memberi ruang masa atas kesibukan tuan dalam segi kerja untuk beri sedikit masa kepada kami lah, para peserta, para pensyarah untuk dalam webinar ini. Untuk makluman tuan, dalam jadual kami, hadirannya pelajar kita terbuka kepada pelajar Politeknik ini sebagai Shah daripada semester 1 hingga semester 5. Dan kita pun dapat menerima jemputan, menerima permintaan daripada Politeknik untuk hadir. Mungkin siapa daripada Politeknik lain kalau ada buka sikit bagi emoji smile ke tepuk tangan ke. Untuk ni saya audio sikit gemuk. Jelas? Okey, tak. Pertama, saya ucapkan terima kasih daripada para peserta Politeknik yang lain hadir. Okey, jadi untuk pagi ini, program ini kita sediakan atau kita adakan fokusnya adalah untuk memberi fahaman kepada pelajar, terutama sekali berkaitan dengan 5G dan bahagian-bahagian seperti Radio Access Network, Access Transport Network, dan Core Network. Satu dan kedua, untuk program ini juga kita memberi fokus kepada ekosistem telekomunikasi dalam sistem komunikasi inilah. So semoga dalam perbincangan ataupun kelas webinar pada pagi ini memberi sedikit peluang dan ruang kepada kita untuk mendengar dan untuk kita memberi satu pengalaman barulah dalam sisi teknologi terkini. Okey, saya pun dalam pagi ini pun tidak memberi sedikit tak nak membuang masa soal ini. Saya harap para peserta dan syarat dapat memberi kerjasama baik penceramah dan menerima dan mendengar apa yang hendak disampaikan kepada kita pada hari ini. Akhir sekali, untuk saya ucapkan terima kasih kepada penceramah dan seterusnya kepada penganjur program pada pagi ini, Puan Bainu, Puan Hidayah, Puan Farah Kita, Ras Razwani dan yang lain kerana mengajukan satu program yang baik kepada ini. Semoga tuan-tuan, para pensyarah dan peserta dapat dirahmati dan dapat memberi kekuatan. Saya itu saja. Terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Terima kasih diucapkan kepada Encik Zahir di atas ucapan anuan tadi. Baiklah, just a little housekeeping before we start the webinar. Ada beberapa makluman yang ingin saya maklumkan. Sekiranya tuan-puan dan pelajar-pelajar sekalian mempunyai sebarang soalan, sila type soalan di ruangan Q&A yang berada di sebelah kanan bawah paparan Webex masing-masing. Okey. Saya akan bacakan soalan-soalan yang telah di-type itu nanti. Peserta webinar juga boleh tanya soalan secara langsung kepada penceramah sewaktu sesi Q&A dibuka di akhir setiap slot. Berikut merupakan agenda atau tentatif webinar kita pada hari ini. Okey. Saya. Okey. Okey, rehat selama 15 minit akan diberi sebagai transition di antara sesi 1 dan sesi 2 webinar. Soalan juga boleh ditanya kepada penceramah sewaktu rehat ini. Baiklah, sebelum kita mulakan webinar ini, saya akan memperkenalkan sedikit latar belakang penceramah. Penceramah kita pada hari ini ialah Encik Chin Xiaoyang, berasal dari Bedong Kedah. Beliau merupakan Pre-Sales Manager di Wuhan Fiber Home International Malaysia Sdn Bhd. Beliau mendapat pendidikan tinggi awalnya di Politeknik Tuanku Sultan dalam bidang Diploma Kejuruteraan Elektronik Komunikasi. Interesting fact, Encik Ching merupakan lulusan kohort pertama program DEP sejak program ini mula ditawarkan di Politeknik Malaysia. Beliau juga memiliki ijazah sarjana muda Kejuruteraan Komunikasi dan Komputer dari Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia. Encik Chin juga pernah berkhidmat di beberapa multinational company seperti Huawei Technologies Malaysia Sdn Bhd, National Instruments Sdn Bhd dan First Solar Malaysia. Tanpa membuang masa, dengan segala hormatnya saya menjemput Encik Chin Xiaoyang untuk menyampaikan webinar pada hari ini.
Okey, terima kasih Puan. Boleh dengar tak suara saya?
Okey, boleh.
Okay, can.
Good.
Then let me share my screen. Okay, moment. Can see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, can.
Okey.
Okay, I will start now. Okay. Okay, selamat pagi and very good mornings to everyone. Okay, first of all, thank you for Puan Nur Hidayah for inviting me for this webinar and then giving me an opportunity to share and talk about today's topics. It's like how cellular communication impacting the telecommunications ecosystem and also pushing the market to increase in IoT. So I think just now Puan also has been introduced me. Okay, I'm go through some just for simple. Okay, my name is Jin Chao Yang. Okay, currently I'm working at Wuhan Fiber Home International Malaysia Sdn Bhd as a pre-sales manager under the Career Enterprise Group. Then, as mentioned by Puan just now, I'm the first batch for the DEP course at Politeknik Tuanku Sultan Kulim. And then I further my degree at Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia Bangi. And I graduated with first honor in Bachelor of Engineering, major in Communication and Computer. Then some of the achievement during my university life, and I won the bronze prize for system design competitions for my faculty. And then the project also has been presented to the former Kementerian Pengajian Tinggi, Minister of Kementerian Pengajian Tinggi at one of the event at UCAM. And then I've won also the Comm prize on my final year project under the Communications and Computer Engineering program. And second prize in final year project awards in IEEE Engineering in Medication and Biology Society Malaysia chapter. And also the best final year project under the IEEE Young Professional. And my FYP is regarding on the developments of microwave imaging system for head phantoms. And then after I graduated, I'm start working at Huawei Technology Malaysia Sdn Bhd for 2 years. And then for now at Wuhan Fiber Home International Malaysia Sdn Bhd. I'm sharing some of my project that have been involved. Okay, first will be the first 5G Malaysia showcase at Putrajaya. Okay, this one is the first 5G Malaysia showcase in Malaysia at that open ceremony by our former Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir. And then also I've been involved in the 5G demonstration project at Langkawi, and then some of the 5G project at Subang Jaya SS15. Meanwhile, I also have been involved in the backhaul developments for 5G. For example, it's like for YTL 5G POI backhaul development for delivery handling for Klang Valley area. And also I've been involved in some of the government projects, for example, like MCMC Jendela, the phase 1 tender project, and then for currently the KKMM POP project. Okay, so today's section first, it will be divided into two. So the first section will be in the how cellular communication impacting the telecommunication ecosystem, and then we'll be have a time for rest, and then we'll continue for the second sections. It's like how cellular communication pushing the market increase in IoT. So for the content of the first section, I will be introduce some of the introductions on the cellular communications, and then the evolutions from 1G to 5G, and then we'll be mainly focused on the end-to-end system on the cellular communication in RAN, radio access network, and next will be in the transport network, or maybe in here they are calling access, but in telco industry we are referring to transport network, and then the last one will be the core network. Okay, let's go through the first agenda for today's. Okay, for cellular communications, in terms of cellular, actually is types of communications that enable all the user or subscriber to use in phones. So from the name cellular, actually cellular is referred to, is based on a large number of the base stations in the certain like area, or maybe we are referring to cell. So from here, the main component will be our mobile phone. So mobile phone actually is a bidirectional radio. That means we're able to receive and transmit the signal simultaneously. So for cellular communication, actually is an geographical area, and then we divided it into certain like communication coverage into a cell or within a cell. So later on, I will briefly explain what is referring to cell. And then, okay, for communication, actually, in cellular communication, actually been lots of benefits to all of the user for day. For example, it's like mobility. So we're able to use the mobile phones in real time regarding where, but we have the communications at that. Then next will be the installation will be much more simple and faster compared to the wired transmissions. Then accessibility means like we can access at anywhere, anytime, without like no need to plugging the cabling for us. And then it's very convenient, means like for now everyone we can own the mobile phones, so it's quite convenient for all of us. And then the next one will be the radio frequency. So radio frequency is one of the common elements in all of the generations of cellular communications. So I believe that everyone has been learned in the syllabus on the EM wave. So actually radio frequency is a type of electronic magnetic wave that we use to carry the information over the distance. So the most common will be the radio wave, or maybe we are referring to radio frequency. So the range will be from tens of kilohertz to 300s of the gigahertz at here. So within these spectrums, all the frequency bands are allocated for each specific application. For example, for radio, for television, for satellite, or for GSM communications. Then, okay, how do the radio wave carry the information? So this is a very basic principle at here. So first, we have one transmitter at the end. Then the transmitter will be encode or modulate the message by changing the amplitude or the frequency of the wave. I think this one also you all have been studied, like amplitude modulations or frequency modulations. And then it will transmit through the receiver. So at the other end, the receiver will be tune the signal into the same wavelength transmit from the transceiver, and then to pick up the signal, and then it will decode it into the desired forms of like sound or maybe an image. So regarding all of these communication, actually from like home remote control up to satellite, actually we are referring to this simple principle. So like I mentioned, actually in cellular communication, there are three main terminology we are referring to here. So first we have cell. Cell actually is an area which provide the communication services. So the cell maybe can be in omnidirectional cell, or maybe in the hexagon cell. So in the sector, we are referring is like radio coverage that cover the certain geographical area. So maybe in the cell, we have like a orthogonal shape. So in the sector, actually, we can divide it into the 3 main sector. Then each sector will having like 120 degrees to form the 3 sector will form a 360 degrees. So each sector, we have their own antenna to transmit and receive the signal. So next, carrier. Carrier will be the radio signal main body information. For example, each sector, what frequency spectrum we are using, like what the bandwidth we are using. So they all are referring to the carrier. So broadly speaking, like maybe we can referring it into a baby plate here. So the circle, the whole circle will be the cell. Then we are dividing into each portion, right, for a different kind of food. Maybe there's a rice here, maybe there are fish. So we are dividing into a sector. Then inside here, the ingredients, the food, we are referring into carrier. Yeah. And then the base station type, actually, we are dividing into a few cell for the radio planner to do the planning. So first we have the macro cell. So actually macro cell each cover the large area. The distance I'm showing at here just theoretical distance. Maybe mostly we will depends on the how much power we are configured at the equipment to penetrate through the distance. So for macro cell, mostly will cover like from 8 to 30 kilometer. So we need to transmit the signal for the long distance. So we require higher power. So macro cell mostly will be suitable for outdoor situations. So at the macro cell, most of the antenna are maybe mounted on the base station, mobile base station, or maybe rooftop of the building. That means we need to install the antenna at the higher high-rise building in order for the antenna to transmit the signal to the receiver. So next we have the macro cell. So macro cell is the medium radio coverage, is like roughly from 0.2 to 2 km or maybe more. So for macro cell, we require a medium of the power for transmission. So it's suitable for indoor and outdoor. So for macro cell, it's able to provide a better service at with a higher capacity at the higher population area. So for the macro cell, actually, it's improved the frequency utilizations. Then the last one will be the pico cell, or maybe we are referring into small cell. So small cell, mostly it will covering the small area, for example, in the building, like a shopping mall. So shopping mall also will install some of the base station inside. We are referring it into a small cell station. So in a shopping mall, maybe in an office, or maybe in the airport, or maybe in a train stations. So next, I will share about frequency reuse. Actually, frequency reuse is a very useful technique. It's the most very important technique at the cellular communications. As we know, our frequency resources is very limited. So how limited? Later I will bring it. Why I'm saying that the frequency resources it will be limited at here. So with the frequency reuse, so actually it's a concept. Frequency is a concept that we use the same radio frequency within an area by separately in a certain distance to avoid the interference occur, and then so that we're able to establish the communications. So in the frequency review, actually like a different subscriber, we can use the same frequency band at the different area. So it's like example, I'm at KL, maybe someone at PJ Selangor. So we are at different geographic area, but maybe we are using the same frequency band for transmit and receive the informations. So what are the advantages for the frequency reuse at here, which it able to provide a larger coverage area, then we can effectively fully utilize all the spectrums has been allocated to the operator. And then from here, we're able to establish the system capacity. So actually, cell planning is one of the methods we are using to implement in the frequency reuse. So we are now using the computer or software to having the cell planning. So we will optimize the plannings based on the base station locations and then or based on the frequency band. So during the designations on the cell planning, we need to go through on the path loss and the link budgets. from the attraction features is like maybe the location, we have some mountain, the high-rise building, all we need to consider. And also on the antenna data, it's like what are the frequency we are using, how much bandwidth, and then antenna are facing downwards or towards on the building. So all of these terms we need to consideration during planning a base station. So you can look at the picture at here. So example, we are referring to the red color. For example, like GSM network, we are using the 900 megahertz at here, and then the red color here also using the GSM 900 here. So maybe a different cell, we are using the same frequency with a separate distance, have a considerable distance to avoid the interference occur between the same frequency band. So next, I will talking about the evolutions of cellular communications. So each generations from 1G, 2G until 5G actually has brought some significant milestones. So to all the users, like from 1G, we are only the voice communications up until today, we have 4G or maybe in 5G soon. So let's go through the details from 1G to 5G. So for 1G standard, actually, we are referring to the AMPS. It's a voice-only communications. AMPS actually is referring to advanced mobile phone system. And then for 2G, we have GSM and GPRS. I think every student has been familiar on this term. And then for 3G, we have the UMTS, maybe the WCDMA. And then 4G, we have LTE or LTE Advanced, LTE-A. So at 5G at here, actually, we are referring to NR. NR means it's a new radio. So this standard has been formed by the 3GPP. It's one of the organizations to fix all the telecommunications protocol. And then next, I will sharing on the multiple access system. So for 1G to 3G, it's like for 1G, they are using the FDMA in frequency, 2G TDMA, and then for 3G CDMA. So from frequency to times, then to code division multiplex access. Then for 4G, actually, we are using the OFDMA. It's referring to orthogonal frequency division multiple access. So actually, for the OFDMA, we are using the encode the digital data into the multiple frequency carrier. They are using the packet switching for transmissions. And then for 5G, we are referring to NOMA. It's non-orthogonal multiple access. It's like we have multiple carrier using a multiple carrier to transmit all the informations by in the same frequency and the same time. So the next one will be the bandwidth has been fixed for each of the generations of the communications at here. So for 1G, we have 30 kilohertz. For 2G, we have 200 kilohertz. 5G, we have 3G, we have 5 meg. And then 4G, the maximum for each of the carrier is 20 megahertz. And then for 5G, maybe we can 500 megahertz or maybe more. So this one currently is like each of the among the world, each of the operator, they are still like in the development state from the 5G. So they are still exploring based on the available bandwidth they are allocated for each of the frequency spectrum. And then the next one will be the data rate. So for 1G towards 5G, we can see they have significantly increased on the data rates. Like for 4G, theoretically, they able to receive like 100 megapixel to 1 gig megapixel. Okay, 1 GPS. Okay, so actually MCMC has fixed the data rate for 4G to all the operator during their planning for the base stations. MCMC fixed is 30 Mbps for the operator to doing their planning. So for 5G, actually, we can up to 10 gigabit per second for the data rate. So next will be the switching time. So for 1G, we are using, because it's only the voice services only. So we are using the circuit switching. So for 2G and 5G, we are introduced on the data transmission like SMS. So we are involved in the packet switching, circuit switching, and packet switching. So for 4G, it will be purely on the packet switching and also the 5G. So for 4G and 5G, mainly they are using the IP address to conduct all the network. So that talks about some of the characteristics and the application for 1G. That I mentioned, for first generation, it will be the voice-only communications. So the coverage will be poor, and also the sound quality is not very good at 1G. Then we come to 2G at here. Actually, in 2G, people will start to send SMS, also the MMS, like multimedia, the photo in the 2G. So in 3G, actually, they are increasing the data rate. That means all the user able start to browsing internet. So at here, they are like enable some of the use application. That example is like a video conferencing or video streaming, or maybe a voice over IP. We call it like Skype. Skype as we introduced at the 3G generations. Then we go to 4G. 4G actually we are providing the fast broadband at here. Then up to 5G. 5G we are like extremely higher speed and also low latency applications. Later I will explain more detail on the 5G. So okay, next let's go through the end-to-end network. So here I will introduce first will be the radio access network. Referring to the wireless network, and then next one will be the access or maybe transport network, and then the last one will be the core network. Okay. So how cellular network works at here? So you can see from here we have the access radio access network. We call it RAN. So when you're trying to make a call, so actually your phone will be connecting you to the nearby antenna, and then within which the signal will be sent from your mobile phone to the antenna, and then will be transmit through cable, which is the transport network at here, and then it will route into all the way to the core network. So when you are making a call, then core network will be looking for your location, your identity, and then routing you to the the caller that you are making. So example, you are like browsing internet using your phones. So actually at the core network, they will be like connecting you into the internet server. That means the services is the internet server. So let's me explain on the sorry. So okay, for the RAN access network, actually like I mentioned, it will be consist of the antenna and the base stations, and then antenna will be receive transmit or receive all the information at you within the cell, like a sector that I mentioned just now. And then for the transport network is an interconnect between the RAN radio access network and the core network. So for the access network or transport network, actually it can be wired or wireless. So for wireless, maybe we can using the microwave for transmission, or maybe here a most familiar transport network we are using is fiber optic. And then we have the core network. Core network will be the hub of the cellular network, which is like storage for all the user data, like what subscriber plan, what's the data plan that you are subscribed under the operator. So all information will be handling in the core network. So next, let's talk about on the architecture for 4G and 5G. So for 4G network architecture, first we have the mobile phones. It will connecting into the LTE RAN, the antenna, and then it will all the way switching occurring to the system to the our core network. So in 4G core network, actually we are referring into EPC. So when we talk about 5G, they have two network architecture to be introduced at here. So first we have the NSA. That means it's a non-standalone architecture. So for the NSA, actually the master site will be still on the LTE network. Means it's like 5G, it will be try to overload the services from 4G at here. So for example, the devices are connecting into the 5G NSA modes, and then they're able to receive like maybe 200 Mbps data rates. And then when we are found that the 4G LTE site actually they are overloaded. So 5G, they will be offering another like 600 Mbps to the user at here. So in order for them to receive the higher data rates, so total up, they have total 800 Mbps. for the user. Then most of the anchorings and then the coverage management will be handled by LTE core. So we never introduced 5G core network for NSA architecture. This is the earlier stage for the 5G. And then next, it will be moved to 5G standalone at here. So for the 5G standalone, we have they need to rebuild their own 5G core network at here. So with the 5G standalone architecture, we're able to enjoy the max of the services for 5G and also their function of the 5G. So from here, we can see that actually NSN network, the construction speed will be much more faster than SN network because we just need to add the 5G equipment at existing LTE site in order for us to enjoy the 5G coverage at here. So there are cost effective solution for 5G NSA. And then for 5G SA, we need to rebuild all the infrastructures, and then from the back end until the from the front end until the back end, and then so that we're able to fully utilize or enjoy the characteristic and also the functions of the 5G. So the construction cost will be much more higher for 5G SA. And currently in Malaysia, we are deploying for the NSN network first, then only we will evolve into 5G SA. Okay, I will talk more details on the RAN access network. Actually, there are lots of technology to be introduced at here, but I'm picking up some of the major technology at here to introduce to all of you. Okay, first, like LTE network, we don't have the circuit switching here. So like how does it into want to make a call? So actually for 4G LTE, we are introduced a few solutions for voice. So first we have the CS fallback because circuit switch fallback. So first the operator must be owning 2G or 3G legacy network. So when the user want to make a call, they will be fallback into 2G or 3G for you to make a call. So at here, all the mobile users, they are unable to use the 4G data. I think if everyone realized that a few years ago, when you are making a call, your phone actually will be indicated in 3G sign signal, the sign at the naming at here. So this one will be the earlier stage for most of the mobile operator deploying the 4G voice solutions. And then I think recently everyone is talk about the voice over LTE, and the most of the operator also switching it into voice over LTE because Malaysia, we are shutdowning the 3G services at here. So all of the operator, they want to introduce the VoLTE at here. So actually VoLTE is like a most popular widely used for among all the operator in the world. So instead we are using the legacy network like fallback into 2G and 3G. So 4G actually we are introduced a new kind of IP multimedia subsystem we call it IMS. So this IMS actually is a entity under the core network. So for the voice over LTE means it's like all of the user or subscriber, they're able to enjoy the voice services and the 4G data at the same time. So it means it's like we will stand online without any interruptions on the 4G LTE data. And then the next one will be have simultaneous voice and LTE. So this one is like two radio at the same time means it's like our mobile phone will be accessed like LTE or maybe a 2G or GSM at the same time. So at here they are required the higher power consumption means your battery will be getting fast to finish at here. So it's not a popular solution to implement in a 4G LTE voice solutions. And then I think in like last year, all of the mobile operator they are trying to introduce on the VoLTE. This is because like Malaysia want to shut down or sunset 3G, and then that's why they are implementing the 4G LTE VoLTE in their networks. So actually, to enable your phone able to receive the voice, you need to have some setting in your mobile phones. So I believe now everyone should be done your setting because Malaysia has been shut down the 3G services at here. So all of us actually now we are using the 4G LTE VoLTE to receive the voice call. And then now I want to share about some of the frequency spectrum has been allocated to the mobile operator in Malaysia. Like I mentioned just now, we have limited resources of frequency. Means it's like total we have the only 6 frequency spectrums has been allocated for the operator to planning their mobile network. So actually we look through at here for 800 megahertz, we have like owning by the TM Unified Mobile. The bandwidth will be 10 megahertz, and then for 900 megahertz, they're owning by almost among the operator, but maybe their bandwidth will be different. And then for 1800 megahertz, like about the operator Celcom, Maxis, DG, and U Mobile. And then for 2100 megahertz, and then for 2.3 giga, and then for 2.6 gigahertz. So actually the bandwidth allocated has been like fixed by MCMC at here. So you can see at here, the lower the frequency means it's like we can travel for the long distance. So mostly like all the operator, they are using like 900 meg or maybe 1.8 giga for the 2G transmission, because it able to transmit for the long distance. And also you can see that here for voice only communication will not require a very higher bandwidth for the communications. And then for mostly we can see the higher the frequency, so because the bandwidth will be much more bigger compared to the lower frequency here. So mainly they are implementing for the 4G services. And then let's talk about some of the technology have been implemented in the 4G or 5G network. So first, we have MIMO. MIMO actually is a multiple input and multiple output. So this is an antenna technology has been widely used in the 4G LTE network. Then is MIMO means is that we are using the multiple antenna elements for transmit and receive at the same time to improve the signaling performance and also the quality of services. So actually multiple input actually is referring to the number of antenna at the transmitter side. So it's like whether we are using the one antenna to transmit. So with MIMO, we can use 2, 4, or 8 antenna element for transmissions. Like in the traditional ways, we just using the single stream to transmit. So with MIMO, we can allow the more antenna to transmit the multiple stream to the receiver. And then for multiple output, actually are referring into the number of antenna for the receiver side. So instead of just using one antenna to receive the multiple signal transmit from the transmitter, so actually we are introduced like a MIMO also from the receiver side. So either 2, 4 or more antenna for receive the signal. This means it's like multiple stream transmit, then we have multiple stream to receive it. So from here, we able to improve the signal performance also in order to achieve the higher throughput transmissions. So actually MIMO, we are referring to uplink and downlink at here. So actually 3GPP has fixed some of the standard on the LTE, maybe LTE Advanced and the LTE Pro. So in the earlier state will be the release 8 by 3GPP for the LTE. So actually they deploy like 4 times 4 MIMO for the downlink and then 2 by 2 MIMO for the uplink. So here you all can see clearly when you're doing the speed test, then you will see like the downlink speed must be much more higher compared to uplink speed. This is because we are implementing more transmit and receive at the downlink part. That's why when you're doing the speed test, you will clearly see that your downlink will be much more higher. The data rate will be much more higher compared to uplink. Then next, what's the benefits of using the MIMO at here? Actually, the antenna, they will allow the antenna to split the signal at the transceiver end or at the receiver end. So when we are transmitting the information like from the base station to the receiver, we will pass through a lot, it will travel along the long distance, and also there will be a lot of obstacles there, like maybe a high-rise building. So in this case, the signal stream is potentially become very big when by the time it's reached to our mobile phones. So by using the MIMO, we have the multiple stream that transmit from the transmitter. So example, one of the signaling become weak, we still have another signaling to transmit for the receiver to receive the signal. So that's why MIMO has been widely used, implement in the 4G LTE networks. So when we are referring to MIMO transmitter, like example at the base station, and though for the receiver, that means all the user mobile phone, we also implement MIMO technology at here. So you can see, I take an example for the iPhone at here. So actually, every phone you all can go to internet to searching where's your antenna band for the phone. Like maybe for iPhone 6, here will be indicated the antenna band. Maybe for iPhone 12 or 13, the antenna will be located at here. And then for 5G ultra wideband antenna, this one will be referring to the millimeter antenna. So normally in Malaysia, we will be using for the 5G subs 6G antenna at here. So at your mobile phone also the same. So we have the 5G like 4x4 MIMO for iPhone 12, and also the LTE 4x4 MIMO at here. So next, I will talk about the massive MIMO technology. So actually at 4G macro cell, we are using the MIMO, multiple input and multiple output antenna. So in the 5G, we are referring to massive MIMO, means we have like a large number of the antenna element we are using for transferring at here. So maybe you can referring to the diagram below at here. So MIMO actually they are just broadly forecasting the antenna to all the users. So for the MIMO, they will be mainly focusing on the all the mobile user at here. So maybe I can take example as like a torchlight, a flashlight, or maybe a laser pointer. So maybe for the flashlight, which they will be broadly to all the area at here. But by using the laser pointer, is massive MIMO, we can directly pinpoint to the specific location we are referring to at here. So there will be, that's why for 5G, we are require the higher bandwidth, higher transmission. We are implementing the massive MIMO technology at here. So for 4G, actually, they are just mostly up to 8 transmit and 8 receive only. But in the 5G, actually, we can implement like 32T, 32R transmissions, 64T, 64R transmission, or maybe more in future. So how's the antenna elements introduced in the massive MIMO or maybe MIMO antenna at here? So we can see it clearly. It's like we have the polarizations for negative 45 polarizations, and also the positive 45 polarization at here. So when both of the that combined, we referring into the cross polarizations. So we can see it's like each of the antenna, there will be have their cross polarization at here. So for transmitting and receiving the information, I think the polarization your also has been learned in your electromagnetic wave syllabus. It's like how the data will be transmitting. It's like a wave will be carried in the cross polarization way. Okay, and then when we look on the 64T, 64R, actually they are referring into multiple transmitter or antenna element at here. So example, the vertical or horizontal will consist of total 8 times X, and also included the cross polarizations. So we X times 2, total will be forms like 128 antenna elements for the 64T, 64R transmissions. So this one view is the actual photo for the antenna element at here. So you can see for the vertical and the horizontal there, they consist of 8 times 8 antenna element at here for transmit. So this one will be the actual photo for the antenna for 5G and the 4G. So actually 5G, we are referring into AAU at here, the terms. So here, this one will be the 5G 64T, 64R antenna, 32T, 32R antenna, and also this one is the 4G antenna at here. So actually 4G antenna, they can max into a 12 port. That means that's why the antenna will be huge. maybe one antenna, currently technology is like one antenna able to support multiple frequency spectrums. Like it's like not each of the spectrum I require one antenna for transmitting. So for now, we can just using one antenna to support maybe like 900 meg, 1.8 or maybe 2.3 together at the same time. So next will be the beamforming. Beamforming also has been widely used in the massive MIMO base stations. So which allowed the antenna to mainly focusing on the user when they are active, try to making a call. So for the massive MIMO beamforming actually is a advanced signaling performance at here to determine the best path for the radio to transmit to the receiver. So actually, for the beamforming, actually it makes the base stations to focus the wireless signal in the special directions, rather we are broadcasting into the broad area at here. So you can see clearly at here, like for MIMO, we are broadcasting all the informations, all the signaling stream to the user. But for beamforming technology, we just able to mainly focusing on the UE when they are approaching internet or making a call at here. So this is able to increase the efficiency of the network by reducing the interference. So actually, beamforming, we are referring into the 3D beamforming at here. They are creating the horizontal or vertical beam. So for the vertical beam, they will mostly towards for the user on the high-rise building at here. So how beamforming will be achieved in the massive MIMO type here? So actually, we are using the technology of AI for transmit. So from here, we can see it's like when UE1, we have 4 UE at here, UE1, UE2, UE3, and UE4. So for example, UE1 and 2, they just connect to the internet, but without performing any activity. Then, so example, the UE3 or UE4, we are trying to make a call at here. So the signal, the mobile will be feedback to the network that's allowed the base station antenna to beam to focus on the user only, directly pinpoint to the user. So which here we're able to maximize the signaling quality. So next, I will be moving. Okay, example is like actually most of the operator, they are implementing the XDLR transmit solution at here. So I'm showing some example. Actually, Celcom at last year July, they are deploying their XDLR solutions to reduce the 4G network congestion. And also for the Unified Mobile, actually they are implementing the massive MIMO solutions by using their TDD technology to achieve like 80 megabit seconds transmissions at Sarawak Puchong. So next, then I will be proceed into the transport network. So for the transport network, actually we are referring into the mobile backhaul. So mobile backhaul, actually it will be connecting for the RAN to the core network. So for the transport network, we are consist of access layer, aggregation layer, and also the core layer. So when we talk about transport network at here, actually they are referring to the term of the next generation network, NGN, or maybe now we are referring terms into next generation transmission, NGT. So from here, we can see that here for access layer, actually access layer is like mainly will be focusing on the all of the geography area that consists of the antenna, consists of the range base station. For example, each resident or each of the taman, we have the access layer equipment at here in order to connecting to the range mobile base station. And then when then you will move to aggregation. Aggregation, it will be connect multiple of access layer equipment into the aggregation. For example, like each of the district or maybe daerah, we have the each like a few aggregation to gather all the information transmit from the access layer. Then they will pass through the core layer. Core layer actually we can referring into state negeri. Each state maybe they consists of a few core to transmit until move to the core network, maybe because core network will be implementing main like only one core network at the mobile station. So let's go through the details on the transport network at here. So for access layer actually it will be support the higher density of access. Like I said, it's provide a variance of the access node to the terminal or maybe to the host of the internet over the short distance. So for access layer, mostly it's like just a gigabit access. And then when we move to the aggregations, so actually aggregations, they are provide the higher bandwidth export and also converse the network traffic and also control all the policy, and the routing will be occur at the aggregation layer. So when we are connecting the multiple access layer equipment, so for the aggregation, we are require the higher bandwidth, like maybe 10G per port to receive all the information. Then we move to core layer at here. Core layer, you will be interconnect of the multiple aggregation layer, and then core layer which require a higher switching capacity and also with a higher performance in like maybe require for 40 gig to 100 gig interference at here. So according to the estimation, actually 5G transport network which require much more higher compared to 4G at here. So it's like for access layer, maybe they require 50 gig. And then for the aggregation, maybe from 100 to 400. For core, maybe more than 400 for the transmissions. So when we talk about mobile backhaul, actually it can be like a wire or wireless. So today I will be implement like most of the major mobile operator using the technique. Like the most traditional part is the copper line. So copper line backhaul actually is the preliminary backhaul technology that's been implemented on the legacy network like 2G and 3G. So they are mainly using the T1 or E1 protocol for transmission. Then I believe this one also has been studied in your syllabus. So for T1 and E1 protocol, the data rate is much more lower. Like they only able to receive like 1.5 meg or maybe maximum up to 2 meg only. So when we talk about copper line is do not easily to expand and provide a sufficient bandwidth to support LTE broadband usage and also the 5G traffic scenario. That's why for the 5G and 4G, we are require the higher bandwidth. That's why copper has been become an infrequent use solutions among all the operator. So at here, most of the operator, they are starting to implement the fiber optic. We call it fiberizations. So fiber optic, I think everyone also familiar fiber optics. Fiber optic is like they able to provide a higher bandwidth capacity at here. So at the mobile backhaul, actually we are implementing the techniques like a wavelength division multiplexing technique, which it will be combine or enable the multiple optical signal to convey and then carry over a single huge fiber. Then the signal will be divided into the different wavelength or color for transmission at here. So here we have two techniques. We have cross wavelength division multiplexing and also dense wavelength division multiplexing. These are the two main techniques has been implemented at WDM. So for most of the operator, mostly we will using the DWDM. So this is because like CWDM, they only provide 16 channel for each fiber for transmission only. But with the DWDM, which provide a small channel spacing at here, so it able to deliver up to 96 channel wavelength per fiber transmission set here. So and also DWDM, we able to achieve like 10 gig or maybe more up to 1.6 terabyte per fiber on the transmission. That's why DWDM has been widely used in mobile backhaul implementation at here, because first it able to they have support higher of the number of channel, and then second is able to carry the higher capacity is like up to 1.6 terabyte per fiber at here. So when we talk about a next generation network, they will be introduced on the IP. So one of the technology has been using at the among the layer like access, aggregation, and core is required IP RAN, RAN radio access network. So for IP RAN, is mainly all will be on the IP designations for either or in RAN or maybe in the RAN backhaul networks. So it's like end-to-end system all will be based on IP for transmissions, which for IP RAN, they're able to provide a higher bandwidth, higher reliable, also the low latency, low cost services to the operator. And then the IP RAN has become the mainstreams for the networking solution for all the mobile backhaul. Like we're able to use the IP RAN to carry the mobile voice and also the broadband multiple services for 2G, 3G, and 4G to meet the base station access requirement at here. So for the IP RAN, actually they are introduced different kind of technology. Like we need to ensure the milliseconds level of the reliability, like maybe the internet synchronizations in order to achieve the requirement of the base station. So to migrate from existing 2G, 3G network from the original, the SDH, the synchronization digital hierarchy, or maybe an SDP technology into IP RAN. So actually IP RAN, they need to introduce some of the legacy technology like E1 or maybe FE, the fast internet, GE, or maybe 10 GE access capacity to the 2G or 3G services at here. So with the IP RAN, actually we are using the layer 2 or layer 3 VPN technology to improve the networking capacity on the routing of the protocol. And also so that by using the IP RAN, we're able to increase the number of nodes at the stations, like maybe can up to 1,000 or maybe 100,000 of nodes in the network. So when we talk about IP RAN at here, like I mentioned, is end-to-end IP services. So it's like including all the radio from RAN, from INC in 3G, maybe to the packet call at the LTE. So those systems actually are able to speak in IP, and it will be support for our TCP/IP OSI model. So okay, we go through the detail on the TSV OSI model. So the first layer will be the physical layer. So physical layer at here, we are referring into the transmission media. Transmission media at here, we are using the wireless transmission from a mobile user to the base station. And then for the layer 2 will be on the data link. Data link will be implemented on the access layer. So access layer actually is access modes. They are all the terminal or the host will be connecting together to establish the communication between the node to node. So here we are referring into the data link layer. Then when we up to aggregation layer and also core layer, actually we are referring into layer 3. Layer 3 is the network layer. So it's more to network packet and also on the routing the packet by discovering the best path across the physical layer. So the most important thing in the network layer we are referring into is IP address. So network layer, actually they are use the network address, IP address to routing the packet to the destinations. So that's why we can connect multiple node on the aggregations layer and also the access layer together to enable the communications. So the communication here, how they want to enable, we are using the IP address. To each of the equipment, we will configure an IP address in order for them to communicate with each other. So next, I will move to the core network at here. Okay, core network is a central part of the overall network. Like I mentioned, they are allow all the subscriber to access to the services or to their and also core network will be storing all the subscriber informations like your data plans or subscribe data plan, also maybe your locations, and also some of the services and also the switching tasks will be occur at the core network. So I believe that everyone is familiar for the 2G and the 3G network architecture. So actually, where is the core network located? So for 2G, the core network will be located at here, is renaming as the network switching subsystem. So for 2G, they were mainly focusing on the circuit switching only. Then we have come to 3G, we have introduced the circuit switching and also the packet switching. Then for 4G, the core network will be located at here. So we're naming it as the evolved packet core. It's like more advanced core network technology at here. So, okay, next I will be talk about the 5G core network at here. So 5G new radio, actually we are introduced the cloud-based, cloud-native core network at here. Actually, it's based on service-based architecture. We call it SBA. Means it's like they are based on service to located each of the core network as a cloud to each of the specific region. Like you see at the picture here, we have the center cloud at here. Then like each of the certain location, they have their local server. Local server here, we are referring into all is based on the cloud base. Then later I'll be explain more detail on here. So with the 5G network actually can be operated in the 4G LTE core like I mentioned in the 5G NSN network. They are using the EPC core. So at here, they need to upgrade their existing EPC core to support the 5G architecture. So let's talk about the difference between the 4G and 5G architecture at here. So for 4G LTE or mobile station, basically they are close to each other. And also the 4G EPC core actually is centralized. Mostly it will be far away from the base stations. So for this kind of architecture, actually they have introduced some of the higher latency, and also it's like the end-to-end communications will become more challenged and also impossible if you want to meet the 5G requirements at here. So for 5G NR, actually they are broke apart, like they are implementing the EPC core to each function into a cloud base. Like each certain location, we have their own individual cloud-based service core at here that they are all running independently like a server hardware. So with this kind of implementation, we're able to making the communications path more shorter compared to 4G. Like 4G, you need to transmit all the way into the core network only. But 5G, the communication path will be much more shorter. That's why we're able to receive the higher data rate at 5G network. Because of the core network, they will be implement the cloud-based core network to each of the specific locations near to the base station. Yeah. So from here, we're able to improving the end-to-end latency and also the speed. Because if you're transmitting from the one base station to another core network which is located far away from you, they are introduced the higher latency. So with the 5G like cloud-based services at here, so we can lower the latency on the transmissions. So actually, in 5G core network, we are implementing some of the technology in order for providing the fast connections and also low latency, low response time. So actually here we are implementing network function virtualizations. Means it's like all will be go to virtual already. And then next will be the network slicing. So for the NVF network slicing, actually they are allowed all the operator to manage extend their network capability based on their demand by using virtual, like I mentioned, is cloud bases at here. So they will be easily for load balance, or maybe easy to upgrade or expand their network because all in virtual. We are not requiring any specific or the hardware at here. We require, but not much compared to 4G LTE. For 5G core, we still have their own hardware, sorry. So, but mostly they will be cloud-based, like virtual configurations at here. So they are with the NFV is like be able to overcome a lot of the 5G challenging at here. Then next one will be the network slicing. So from the term slicing, actually like we are slicing the services into, we are separate it into different slicing based on the application or use case for 5G. So when we talk about 5G network slicing, actually 5G introduced three main application at here. It will be enhanced mobile broadband, EMBB, then ultra reliable low latency, URLLC, and also massive machine type of communications. So later on, I will be explain more detail on these three main application at here. So in the network slicing, actually like we can be slicing one of the portion, mainly focusing on the enhanced mobile broadband application, which require the higher bandwidth application. Then maybe another slice I can be used for ultra reliable low latency communications, to more optimize on the low latency use case in real-time application. And then for the maybe the slide I can be sliced into the massive machine type of the communications, which enable the network to receive multiple connections. So actually this one will be the beneficial to the network operator. So actually they can well plan on their core network. Example, operator, they have their own customer. Maybe each customer, they are using a different kind, they are focusing on different kind of market segment. For example, operator A, they want to selling their core network or 5G services to their customer. Maybe the customer will be focusing on the HDTV or maybe AI or AR or VR services is part under the EMBB, enhanced mobile broadband. So they can be slicing one part of the network, mainly focusing for the particular customer only. So here they able to provide their services, main services to all of their customer. Okay. Okay, that's all end for the section 1. Maybe we are go through the Q&A section.
PSIS, betul.
Okey. Kita telah sampai ke sesi Q&A bagi sesi 1 ini. Okey, setelah saya cek di ruangan Q&A dan di ruangan chat ada beberapa soalan yang telah diutarakan. Sekiranya para peserta ada soalan lain untuk ditanya secara direct, boleh unmute-kan mic masing-masing untuk tanya terus kepada Encik Ching. Terlebih dahulu saya akan bacakan dulu soalan yang telah di-typekan di ruangan chat. Baik. Soalan yang pertama daripada teknologis Syahrizan. Okey. Soalan dia, explain why norma, can you hear me clearly, Ching? Yang?
Yes, I can hear.
Norma compared to OFDMA. Explain why norma. Explain why norma compared to OFDMA.
Okay.
And OMA, yeah. Okay. And what are the problems of orthogonal?
Well, actually, broadly speaking, okay, on the multiple access technique that's been used in the 4G and 5G. From this part, actually, I'm not really go through deeply on the multiple access techniques. So actually, orthogonal technique has been mentioned at here. It's like for the 4G OFDMA is like orthogonal, referring to the frequency division multiple access. 5G. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah. Now can.
Okay, sorry. Actually, on the orthogonal parts, I not very go to more detail on the multiple access. Apologize that I'm unable to classify the details on the orthogonal things because I will be mainly on the planning part referring to this. And upload. Maybe later on I can be making another slide sharing to Puan Hidayah on these details.
Okey, so untuk teknologi Sarizan nanti saya akan sharekanlah slide yang diberikan oleh Encik Ching. Okay, can we go to second question?
Yes.
Alright. Okay, soalan kedua. As you mentioned before, 3G is closing, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now we switch to 4G network.
Yep.
Okay, as we can see, some of the area 4G is still not being implemented fully. So some of us here, for example, I give you my example here in PSIS. We are in Sabah Bernam, which is quite rural. Okay, we are experiencing in call drop because when we are moving, sometimes we are in the 3G, the 2G cell, and then when we go, previously we have this 3G in that cell, but when 3G is closing, the call suddenly drop and we don't know what to do with our phone. Some of us may think, oh, should we change our phone? So what is the solution for this? Because some of this area, 4G is still not implemented.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, based on MCMC planning, they have, I think everyone maybe heard before on the Jendela project. Okay, Jendela project mostly will be focusing on their sunsetting the 3G services at here. So why Malaysia want to shut down 3G services at here? So, okay, we can see 2G services will be introduced on the mobile voice. So 4G will be introduced on the mobile broadband. So when we come to 3G, they're actually in between. It's like not very good in voice and also broadband services at here. Actually, among all the country, they are now all are implemented to shut down the 3G services because 3G services will be at the intermediates of the compared to 2G and 4G. That's why Malaysia decide to closing down the 3G so we can using the spectrum of frequency has been allocated for 3G services using to implement at 4G base station. So, okay, when we are happening on the voice call, maybe a drop off or anything, first you need to turn on the voltage services on your mobile phone. So actually you can go to maybe each of the operator, they have their show how you want to turn on the VoLTE services on your phones. If you didn't enable the VoLTE service on your phone, you will still fall back into 2G for receiving a call. So maybe certain area they are not much well focusing on the 2G services. So first you need to turn on your VoLTE services at your phone first. This is the main part. Or maybe your phone does not supporting VoLTE. This one also has been clearly mentioned by MCMC already. Like they are like and making some announcement informing all of the user to change your phones in able to support VoLTE. So and then if you are maybe but actually the Jendela project they are like need to focusing upgrading on the 4G coverage. So currently, I mean, most of the operator, they are still like like roll outing their 4G base station in order to provide a full coverage of the 4G services. I think based on MCMC report that has been shared on, I think last week, because end of Q1, they have shared the report on the 3G sunsetting. Actually, they have almost like up to 90%. They are like closing down all the 3G services at here. So that's why they are like each of the operator. Actually, they are, I can say MCMC or KKMN. They are like have a budget for each of the operator to extend or to extend more their 4G network, 4G coverage at here. So if you are maybe happening this issue, maybe you can make a call to your mobile subscriber operator. Actually, when you make a call, each of the operator, they will be take action on here. Or maybe you can go to the MCMC website to make actually it's not a complaint, it's like info to them, like maybe your area, then they will go through the details on the planning. So on the Gentella project, actually they will be focusing on the area which they have not much of the 4G coverage at here. So this is what I can share here.
Okey, saya harap itu terjawab ya. Baiklah, soalan ketiga daripada pelajar. What is the actual purpose of 5G?
Actual purpose of 5G. Okay, maybe later on I will share more detail on the 5G application. Then you can see more clearly on that already. Yeah. Maybe later on I will answering the question.
Soalan seterusnya daripada pelajar juga. Saya namanya Bob. Okay. Will 3G and 2G get extinct? I mean close forever lah, get extinct. Okay. Will 3G and 2G get extinct in future? Is there will be any use for 3G and 2G network after fully closed?
Okay.
If. Okay.
Puan ada soalan continue ke yang tu? If?
Excuse me?
Tadi ada cakap if?
Ya. Dia tanya soalannya,
Okay.
adakah 3G dan 2G akan ditutup sepenuhnya?
Okay.
Dan sekiranya ditutup sepenuhnya, apa akan jadi pada network 3G dan 2G tersebut?
Okay, when we talk about shutdowning the 3G services, means it's like the whole network we will totally closing down for the 3G services, like mainly the equipment specifics for 3G we also will be removing. So actually at US, they have the different planning compared to Malaysia. So for US, they are shutdowning the 2G services first. Then only I think last month, I have read some article that actually the A&T, most of the telco at US, they are trying to shut down the 3G services at here. So why Malaysia didn't shut down 2G services at here? Because we still have some rural area need to cover. Like maybe some of the people, they are saying at rural area, they are still using the 2G phone to make a call. So Malaysia will not so soon to shut down the 2G services at here, because we still have some user or mobile phone user on the 2G that to make a voice call only. So when we talk about shutdowning, that means we are totally closing all the services or equipment already. So we can reuse the bandwidth has been allocated for 2G and 3G that will be implement at 4G. So if like that, we can use like we referring is like spectrum utilizations. We can fully utilize all the bandwidth that been allocated to each operator. Example like just now I'm showing, right? Let me share the screen again. So you can see it here. So when we're talking about bandwidth, like example, we take example for Celcom. For 900 megahertz, they are focusing on 2G and 4G at here. So maybe they were allocating 5 meg for the 2G services only, and then another 5 meg for 4G services. So if we are closing down the 2G, so for 4G, we can enjoying the 10 megapixel here. So here we're able to increase our data rate transmit because we have the huge bandwidth. We have able to support a lot of the subscriber at the same time. So like we are shut down 3G services at here. So most of the operator, I think now they are implement the 15 meg for mainly for 4G only services at here. Yeah.
Dia 3, dia 4, dia 5.
Hope I'm answering your question.
Ya, ada soalan? Mungkin ada yang tertekan mic kot. Sebab saya dah allow untuk peserta turn on mic after this. Selepas saya habis bacakan soalan, saya akan benarkan peserta untuk tanya soalan secara teruslah pada penceramah. Okey, mungkin tertekan saja kot, Mr. Ching. Boleh
Okay.
continue.
I think that's all for me. Yeah, I hope I'm answering your question. Maybe we can have some interaction at here. Maybe you can open the mic.
Okey, untuk Bob, saya harap berjawab ya soalan tu. Baik, soalan seterusnya di bahagian transport network. Ini boleh Encik Ching share semula slide sebab
Boleh?
soalan ni dia mohon share semula slide.
Okay.
Okey, di bahagian transport network, the one yang ada kaitan dengan NGN or NGT tadi. Okey, ya, betul. That slide. Okey. Boleh tak Encik tunjukkan bahagian mana yang menggunakan fiber dan bahagian mana yang menggunakan radio transmission di bahagian transport punya slide. I think the slide before. Yes, this.
Okay. Okay, when we talk about, I mentioned just now transport network, we have using wired or wireless, right? Actually, if we all realize, for some of the base station, we have the huge dish, like a white color dish, like that one we are referring to the microwave antenna. So for microwave transmissions, like I think you all has been studied, we need to line of sight. Like we cannot have any obstacle between of the transmission. So this one will be referring into wireless transmission. So you will mainly, for wireless transmission on the transport, we mainly focus on the access layer on it. So when we go to, so currently I think we are referring into the fiberizations. So most of the operator now they are switching into the fiber transmissions on the access layer. So when we talk about NGN, is a next generation's network, or now we are referring to the NGT, next generation transmissions. So it's like whole transport network, how we want to planning from the end to end is like based on capacity. So for access layer, as mentioned, they have like maybe each mobile station I not require very high capacity, like a higher capacity. It's like maybe gigabit access only. So when it got up to like aggregations and then call, we are requiring more and more capacity, maybe up to 100 or maybe in future 400G. Then for NGN, actually is referring to the IP planning on each of the aggregations or maybe a core network layer. It's like NGN not just referring into IP, actually they also referring into how we want to plan the transport network, including the protections. Like maybe from location A transmit into location B, in order we are using just one fiber to connect to both of the station. So actually we can using actually the technology here is protection. We have some of the protection technique has been implemented in the network. We can using two fiber connecting to the both equipment. So one of the fiber has been breaking down, so we can using another fiber for transmissions. So when we talk about NGN, it's like mainly will be go through the IP based planning. So how access layer want to talk with the core layer example, so they will all based on IP config at here for each of the equipment, how they want to communicate, or maybe each of the equipment they will go through the best route for them to transmit the informations to their desired destinations. Yeah. Hoping I'm answering your question.
Okey, semoga menjawab ya. Baik, soalan seterusnya daripada pelajar Bob. Can 5G harm humans in terms of radiation due to the operation of high radio frequency bandwidth?
Okay, I think this one also broadly speaking, there's actually some of the residency we have an issue on they are complaining the base station mostly near to them. they will be cause harmful for them. If the base station will be cause a radiation to you, then your mobile phone will be also cause a radiation to you already, because we are using the same technology to receive and transmit the signal. So broadly speaking, they will not cause any radiations to you. And then some like ITUT or 3GPP, actually they have all have studied already. Else they will not release this kind of 5G standard to all the user. So it's not like if you're causing radiation to you, like maybe causing you mati or no, it's like very safe. Don't worry. If high frequency noise means it's like will be having the radiation to you. But if can, when you are receiving call, not always like maybe you are making like 1 or 2 hour call at here. So it's better for you to use maybe an earphone for making a calling, because if you are placing your phone near to your ear for maybe an hour, so there must be some radiation for you. But if you not cause like will be gonna cancer or what, yeah. But it's better for you to use like maybe you are making a call for long hours, so it's better for you using an earphone. Yeah, they have still some radiation, but will not cause harmful to human. Yeah.
Okey. Soalan seterusnya, awal implementation 5G di Malaysia dimulakan oleh DNB. Boleh Encik terangkan peranan DNB?
Okay. When I think this one a big politicians. Okay, but I can share why 5G implementation will be go through DNB at here. So like initially I'm sharing that MCMC have given the spectrum to each of the operator for them to planning their network. So when come to 5G, actually initial stage during the I want to say Dr. Mahathir that times when we are first introducing on 5G, actually they are like planning to giving the spectrums licenses to all the operator for them to planning their own network at here. So then we come to next Prime Minister, they are introduced the DNB at here. So DNB actually is like they are owning all the 5G spectrum, owning all the 5G spectrum. Then they are doing planning base station on their own. Then only they are like renting the services to the mobile operator 4G. So each of the mobile operator like Celcom, Maxis, Digi, U Mobile, everything, they need to rent the services like Sewa, the services or to the from the DNB. So DNB they were handling on purely all the network managements, on the radio base station developments. So operator no need to worry to I need to plan my 5G, how I need to plan. So all planning will be go to DNB. So and one of the benefit at here is like because DNB is owned by government. So when they are having the wholesales at here, like the renting agreement, so they can be limited our data plan pricing. It's like else like mobile operator I implement my own 5G, because by implementing 5G we require higher cost because the equipment or the network implementation is very expensive compared to 4G. So operator, if implement by operator, then all the user will be like we need to subscribe 5G, maybe we need to pay more compared to 4G. But if part under DNB at here, so it's under government, so they can control the pricing on the 5G data plan at here. So there has a benefit also for the user, but there also has some disadvantages at here. So example, you are encountering some issue on the 5G network, you make some complaint because we are subscribing the data plan with our mobile operator, like example Maxis. So if I'm like having some of the issue on my base station or maybe nearby me, I make a complaint to Maxis. then Maxis need to make a complaint to DNB, then only they will take action. So at here, maybe they are taking longer time to solve the technical issue. So there are so some of the disadvantages at here. Maybe I think I can sharing at here, like most of the information I get, maybe I think now social media is very famous at here. So actually all this information I also read from one of the Facebook page. Maybe you can search Malaysia's wireless at the Facebook page, or maybe the forum. They will keep on updating most of the latest technology or the informations by in Malaysia, within the Malaysia. So maybe you all can go through details on the go to like the Facebook page. So when they are sharing some of the information, so you're able to grab it. So for me also actually because what we studying and what we work, technology thing is keep on like having implement a new technology right here. So we also need to keep on studying on the what technology has been used or has been implemented at the other operator or what. So you all need to keep on like studying, updating the latest technology. Yeah. Hope I'm answering her question.
Okey, semoga menjawab soalannya. Okey, soalan seterusnya daripada Al-Hafiz. Why some telcos put up on unlimited internet?
Yes.
Clear? Why some telco put up on unlimited internet?
Internet here, you are referring into the home services or maybe for your data plan.
I think maybe for okay. Al-Hafiz, yes?
Why some telco put FUP on unlimited plan?
FUP. What term here? Hello. Can you hear me?
Oh,
Aniha,
FUP is
fair
fair
usage
usage policy.
Fair usage policy. Oh, this one
Yeah.
I never heard before. Maybe you can explain more on that. FUP. I think when we talk about unlimited on the internet speed or maybe
dia bagi tips.
other, so why of I think sorry.
Okay. Can I interrupt?
Yes.
Mr. Chin? Okay. Maybe what it means by Hafiz is that, okay, this telco promote to us, you will have, for example, 1 gigabit per second of data, and then suddenly you make it average for all. We didn't get that amount. I think so. Is that what you itu ke yang dimaksudkan oleh Al-Hafiz?
Betul.
In reality sebenarnya kita tidak dapat apa yang dia cakap tu sebab dia menggunakan fair usage policy ni, maksudnya semua user dapat data rate yang sama.
I think this one will be go through details on the how their marketing strategies on to all the user. Like I'm implementing unlimited data for you all. So fair usage policy. This also my first time hearing this. Maybe later on I will go through details on that. But when we referring is like unlimited data package, it's like when you are subscribing some of the internet service, actually you don't know the operator will be providing how much the data speed to you. Data speed we cannot mention. Example, their promise or I able to achieve like 1 gigabit per second data rate for you, because we have a lots of it's not like all the subscriber will be receive it the pure services, because example you are staying indoor, So the signaling from the base station reach until you, maybe you're indoor, so will become more weaker. So it's not like they are offering 1 gigabit per second, you must be receive 1 gigabit per second. Maybe in certain scenario, maybe you are close for the antenna, and then without any obstacle from the antenna facing to the user, maybe at there you're able to receive the full data rate has been offered by them. But to be honest, in reality, we are unable to receive the max capacity they're offering by the subscriber, because they have a lots of signaling fading transmit from the base stations to the user. Maybe you are inside indoor, you have a lots of the building or wall, then the penetrations of the signal go through to you. Maybe you are driving mobility, maybe you are moving from one base station to another base station, because like I mentioned, they are covering by different cell. So from here, will be have some signal drop amount that there. Hope I'm answering your question.
Okay. Soalan seterusnya, 5G network impact airlines oleh Logan. Okay, soalan dia, is 5G network impact airlines?
5G network impact airline. So you are referring to, is it airline is like a flight, right? So is it like when we are taking flight, so is it the spectrum will be interference by the flight? I think
I'm Logan here. Okay, I want the question
Okay.
is 5G network impact airlines because of the commanders when they give the command to departure the flight or arrival of the flight, it is make a problem in the world. Such of the country, they are banned the 5G network because of the airlines.
May I know which country are banning the 5G on the airline? Or maybe which spectrum or frequency they are using?
It is the US. They want to ban 5G because they are some of the aircraft, they are using 5G network.
Oh, okay. In US.
So when they are give the command, the pilot cannot receive the command with clear because of the line problem over there.
Okay, I understood your question. So actually, each of the country, they will be using different kind of spectrum to implement their network. So later on, I will be share on the spectrum has been implemented in Malaysia for the 5G. But in US, they all are using millimeter wave. Then it's like very higher frequency here, like maybe from 26 to 28 gigahertz. So I believe that in US, in military, they are using millimeter wave to transmit between the one military to another military. So in the military application, mostly they are require a higher frequency here. So that's why they are, I believe this is what I believe. Maybe they will be having some interference between the military network and also the 5G network, because maybe they are in the same channel, then we are transmitting different kind of information at here. So maybe they will be like shut down the 5G related to the close to the military area. But maybe we can use, they can use actually another frequency band to implement the 5G network to avoid the interference between the military network. Yeah, this is on my own understanding, because I'm not sure what frequency band will be using by military. But as I know, wave mostly will be implemented on the military parts, like for the radar system or what, because it's a very higher frequency. Wave referring to a very higher frequency here. So most of the military, or maybe they are using the higher frequency on their transmission system. Thank you.
Okay, soalan terakhir di ruangan chat daripada pelajar. If all of us use 5G, will the internet plan become cheaper or getting more expensive?
Those 5G means is like we
Yeah, if all the users in Malaysia lah, okay,
okay.
use the new 5G plan,
Okay.
will the plan become cheaper or getting more expensive?
This I think just now I also mentioned already. One of the Malaysia they introduced the DNB owned by Malaysia. That's why they want to control all the subscriber, all the operator to offering their data packages here. So I think this is what I'm read from the forums or maybe some of the articles. They mentioned that if why they will be introduce the DNB as a wholesale for 5G network because they want all the subscriber able to enjoy 5G with a cheaper price. This is what mentioned by them. So for now, we're still not sure how the 5G data plan will be introduced by all the operator. So we will look through on that because currently for Malaysia 5G, they are still in the I say it's a R&D or it's a POC stage, means they are still testing all the network. If you have read the I think news on the earlier of this year, actually Unify Mobile and also the YTL, yes, actually they are under the POC testing with DNB. So if you want to enjoy 5G, maybe you can go through their details on these two mobile operator. Hope I'm answering your question.
Okey, saya buka soalan kepada peserta sekiranya ingin bertanya secara terus kepada penceramah. Boleh unmute-kan mic anda.
Is it all for Polytechnic student only, maybe, or we have some university student joining this webinar?
Automation.
Raise hand if we have participants from other than Polytechnics.
So any questions from the students? Actually, anything also can be asked. Like not we are fixing into this today topic, or maybe related to the career, or maybe how industry, telco industry work, anything. I will try my best to answering the questions.
Sir,
Yes.
boleh saya cakap Melayu boleh tak?
Boleh. Sure.
Boleh. 5G ni dijangka dekat Malaysia secara menyeluruh pada tahun bila?
Sorry again.
Maksudnya 5G ni ada kat Malaysia ni akan pada tahun bila? Yang dia akan stabil lah, boleh pakai.
Okay. Based on MCMC planning on the 5G and also the DNB plan, actually, this is their plan. Actually, they want to implement the 5G for the Klang Valley area and also Putrajaya and Cyberjaya at Q1 of this year. Means it's like from January until March. But currently, they have some politician issue and also the wholesale issue among the operator and DNB. That's why they have some delay on the release on 5G services. That's why for now they still mention it still in the POC. That is a proof of concept. POC referring to proof of concept. They want to prove whether what's requirement has been fixed by MCMC. Is it by using the vendor equipment able to achieve their requirement? So now it's still in the proof of concept stage. But I cannot give some advice until when the 5G will be ready in Malaysia. But as I know, currently most of the area, I noticed that they have the 5G antenna already. If we mention in the Kuala Lumpur area, okay, because I able to identify the 5G antenna, I saw some of the location that has been installed the antenna already. But now the issue will be on the agreement between the operator and the DNB. That's why until now they still mention in the POC, because based on Malaysia MCMC plan, is like this year Q1 or maybe Q2, all the user able to start to subscribe the 5G plan offered by the operator. But until now, we still didn't see any news on this 5G. And also they have some issue on the 5G POC with the operator and the vendor. Yeah, hopefully I'm answering your question. But first, your phone need to 5G ready first. When they're offering, then your phone still mainly support for 4G only, then you need to change your mobile phone to support 5G. So in order for you to able to enjoy the 5G services. Okay, next question.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Baik, soalan seterusnya.
Sir,
Yes.
does 4G speed will be reduced after the arrival of 5G network? Will they get reduced by the telcos in order to attract more customers to use 5G network?
This one, broadly speaking, no, they will not reduce because each of the technology, they are using difference of the frequency spectrums on their planning. So 4G, they still remain on, like just now what I'm sharing, the frequency spectrum. So 5G, actually, they will use another frequency spectrum to implement that. So later on, I will be share the 5G spectrum will be used in the Malaysia 5G rollout. So they will not affecting the 4G data rate or 4G speed. Don't worry. Yeah.
So the latency rate will be same, right? Remain same, right, for 4G after the arrival of 5G?
You mean the data rate, right?
Yes.
Yes, we're still remaining. But based on, I think the quarterly report from MCMC on last week, they has announced, they mentioned that for currently 4G speed in Malaysia, we able to achieve like roughly in 37 to 38 Mbps. So this is what they has been announced in their annual report. But we're not sure how they measure this kind of data rate, because like I mentioned, we have a lots of obstacle for travel from our base station to our mobile phone. So we cannot guarantee that I'm able to receive like a 35 Mbps requirement fixed by MCMC. But this is what has been mentioned by MCMC to all the network operator during their self-planning and also everything. That's why they will not affecting on the 4G speed if 5G arrival at here. Yeah.
Baik, ada soalan lagi?
Mr. Chia,
Yes.
adakah dengan implement 5G ni, dia punya jarak antena dia tambah rapat? Dia base station tu tambah rapat.
Yes, this one will be occur.
So maknanya dia tambah rapat. So dia, untuk cover lebih banyak kawasan, dia perlu banyak base antena lah.
Yeah, you are right. This one, you are right. Later on, I will
Apa
share detail. Betul.
apa peluang pada kita, pada masyarakat ada peluang untuk disewakan tempat untuk lepas pasang base antena, ada tak peluang-peluang macam tu?
So you're talking that kita ada
Ya, ya,
business to deal.
ya, 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 ya.
Actually, if you're able to identify where they need to build the base station, you can maybe, I think banyak kan, if you all tengok shop lot atas ada base station. That means most of the operator, they will be doing the planning, they will look to the certain area, then find for the renter. So if you're able to identify which locations the operator will build the antenna, then you'll be very kaya. Because they say, well, this one will be long term, whole life. They will not simply shut down the base station. This one can be guaranteed. If you shut down, then the whole area will be like data services already. But they have some agreement on the renting also. It's not like, oh, I can sewa with the harga mahal to the operator. No. That's mean because this is still fixed by the government, will be control this all thing. Yeah.
Yalah,
Betul.
peluang lah dia.
Ada, mesti ada. But sekarang, as per sekarang, if the peluang you need to go through, maybe you need to focus on the rural area already. Because at urban or suburban area at Bandar, mostly for 5G implementation, they will be based on existing 4G, like I mentioned. They will go through the non-standalone station first, like existing 4G site sudah di sana. So I just add on some of the 5G equipment at there. So if you want to looking for the business, maybe you can looking for the rural area already. So it's like
My friend banyak kebun, boleh lah ada pasang antena dia punya base station.
Tapi
Okay,
even
thank you.
Okay, even like tempat kebun, they also need to go through details on the population at there. So is it subscriber banyak tak the tempat itu? They will be study because like the Jendela project has been expensive for the sunset 3G and then upgrading 4G. They will be go through study on the rural area and then they will base on the subscriber to plan their mobile base station. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Baik, saya akan beri laluan untuk satu soalan lagi sebelum kita rehat tepat pukul 10 suku, 10.15. Okey, sekiranya ada satu soalan lagi untuk ditanyakan kepada Encik Ching.
Sir,
Yes.
saya nak tanya, berdasarkan reality lah kan, kalau one day nanti, kira satu Malaysia dah pakai 5G network, adakah 4G network akan jadi macam 3, 2 and 1G network? Maksudnya dia akan jadi slow lah. So tak boleh pakai untuk macam sekarang kan 4G kita pakai boleh pakai untuk kelas online yang gunakan banyak data kan.
Yes.
So if kita one day nanti pakai 5G, adakah 4G akan jadi macam tu juga?
Okay. I think yang ni just now also almost the same question as being raised. Okay, but I mentioned we're not affecting, don't worry. Because Malaysia don't have the plan to shut down 4G. Like maybe because currently most of the mobile phones will be, I think, owned by all the subscribers just able to support 4G only. So because government also need to consider that if they shut down 2G, they need all the residency, all the subscriber, they need to have able to support. That means they need to have the economy status able to buying the 5G phone because 5G phone will be much more expensive compared to 4G phone. So as I mentioned, for 4G and 5G, they are using different kind of spectrum material. So they will not simply shut down 4G or maybe will not affecting the bandwidth or the data rate for the 4G because as I mentioned just now, all the frequency band has been awarded from the MCMC to the operator. They have some agreement there, like maybe 30-year only expired for the spectrum. So I believe that the operator will not simply go to shut down the 4G or maybe slow down their speed because the telco industry still like will be like monitoring by MCMC or maybe KKM. So this issue, I believe it will not happen. Yeah. So don't worry.
Okey, saya rasa cukup di situ untuk soalan bagi sesi satu ini. Baik, sebelum kita berhentikan 15 minit, saya nak Okey, setakat itu saja untuk soalan bagi sesi pertama ini. Sebelum kita berhenti rehat, saya ingin maklumkan link pendaftaran akan diberikan sewaktu kita mulakan sesi kedua tepat pada pukul 10.30 pagi. Jadi sementara peserta-peserta rehat, kami pihak universiti ada menyediakan satu tayangan video untuk dilihat oleh para peserta.
Our world today is facing challenges. We believe innovation can help shape a brighter future. Welcome to a future of limitless connectivity, where the world around us can sense and respond to our every move beyond our physical boundaries. This could be life in 2030. Sharing data uninterrupted across real and digital borders with a vast infrastructure of sensors that update a digital representation in real time. The world will be more predictable, understandable, intelligent, and a better place for all of us. Imagine what we could achieve if the whole world was truly connected. Picture the world as a cyber-physical continuum, where the physical and digital worlds knit together as one. These worlds are not just connected, they're intertwined and interdependent. So, we can create simulations and predictions with endless optimization possibilities for more efficiency and less waste. Limitless connectivity unleashes manufacturing agility, enabling control and management of factories through making them fully automated, intelligent, and reactive in real time. Instead of being tied to assembly line-style construction, manufacturing will be flexible, responsive, and intelligent. Tools aren't locked into a single function. Instead, they can respond to a variety of needs and even collaborate. We can customize manufacturing processes and products freely as the need arises. But this isn't just for robots. When whole cities are connected, we can all flow smoothly. Data will be shared continuously between platforms so unrelated objects can communicate seamlessly, making each part of our day safer and more enjoyable. Shopping will also look a little different in 2030, with the introduction of immersive advertising, flexible buying options, and personalized recommendations. So, you can buy, use, share, and recycle products. It's more efficient, tailored to your lifestyle, and better for the planet. And it's not just what you do that'll change, it's how you do it too. Extended reality experiences will be the new standard, whether that's in e-gaming or concerts, allowing us to share experiences even when we're apart. You've seen what limitless connectivity enables and explored the possibilities of the future. It's amazing what is possible when we're all connected. But this is just a snapshot of the future. Talk to us about how you can make the unimaginable possible today.
Underpinned by connectivity, the vehicle becomes a real living entity, and the possibilities of what a car might become are endless. Exploration means finding the questions to ask and then look for those answers. I'm driven by how the human behavior intersects with technology and how I, as a service designer, can use that as a design material and create services that create value. Polestar was the first car to have Google Automotive Services inside. The connected vehicle is clearly a trend that is here to stay, and what we need to do is to explore how can we work with this. Exploring with the methodology from design thinking and service design helps us predicting the future. We can't do everything ourselves, and this means that the ecosystem is continuously growing, and this is the future, to design for service ecosystems rather than for a specific car or technology. Working together cross-functionally in the organization, but also sometimes in a grander ecosystem of organizations. The car is only used 5% of the time, which means that it's an unused resource for 95% of the time. Imagine what we could do all that time. What we have is a car that is connected, and we also have a platform that invites people to develop for the car. The future may well be fully autonomous. It means also that we can expand the usage in terms of moving into a third room, an extension of the office or an extension of the home. What we will give you is a continuous update of the software. One of the benefits with over-the-air updates is that you don't need to go into the workshop to get a software update. From a sustainability perspective, it lasts for longer. We talk a lot about innovation all the time, but in my opinion, innovation is just a product. How to get there is through business design, and it's the only way of achieving that. The opportunities are endless. It's the imagination that limits us. I think it's so interesting with the limitless connectivity because it's something that we now expect. The methodology that we use is to disrupt and to look for new answers, which is super interesting, especially from a service design perspective. I imagine a future where nothing is technically impossible.
Hi Zoe.
Hey Javi.
Do you know what is 5G?
Of course I do. 5G is the thing that makes our smartphone connection faster.
It is, but what if I told you that 5G is going to change your life completely?
But how?
There are so many industries from healthcare to cloud gaming that are going through major changes thanks to 5G.
Then show me.
Let's go have a look. Okay, Zoe, so now we are at the EDC exhibition hall with all these 5G applications in real life.
Let's check out one by one.
Let's go.
So this is the healthcare application you mentioned.
Exactly, this 5G intelligent rescue card has all these medical appliances that can gather data from the patient and share it with the rest of the hospital in real time.
Is it already in use?
There are more than 500 hospitals in China that have deployed 5G networks, so they're ready to use it. This robot can gather different data from patients, like the blood pressure, without any physical contact.
Oh, what is this backpack?
This is a 5G new media backpack. So this device here is a 4K video encoder where they can connect their cameras and do live broadcasting at 4K.
Let me try it on. It's really light.
Yeah, it's only 2.5 kilograms.
Oh, I know this. This is a green screen. What's the relation with 5G?
Just stand over there and I'm going to show you right now. Look at the screen. In situations where the anchor cannot be on site, this virtual studio can be used to solve the problem and broadcast in 4K. Now let me show you how 5G can be implemented in an industry like coal mining.
So where's the 5G?
Down here, we can deploy a 5G network so all these machines can be managed remotely from above in this command center room.
So it can improve the safety of the miners.
Exactly, it's making coal mining safer, greener, and more efficient. This is another scenario where 5G can help Thanks to its low latency and large broadband, we can build a smart factory where everything is connected in real time. Now imagine a museum in the future. Thanks to 5G and AR, museums can create more immersive and interactive experiences to make learning more entertaining.
And content creators can also leverage this technology to create more engaging content.
Exactly.
Thank you, Hobby, for showing me around. Now I understand that Huawei's 5G products and solutions make all these fancy applications possible.
Soon, I'll show you the real on-site applications instead of these demos from the exhibition hall. Stay tuned!
Assalamualaikum dan selamat pagi saya ucapkan kepada peserta yang baru menyertai webinar kami pada hari ini dan kepada yang telah menyertai bersama-sama dari pagi tadi. Terima kasih saya ucapkan kerana masih setia menunggu. Baik, sebelum kita pergi ke sesi 2, ada beberapa pengumuman yang ingin saya sampaikan. Pertama, berkaitan dengan link pendaftaran webinar kita pada hari ini. Sebentar lagi pihak urus setia akan share di ruangan chat link pendaftaran untuk webinar pada pagi ini. Mohon isi di bahagian yang betul ya, sekiranya pensyarah isi di bahagian pensyarah dan sekiranya pelajar isi di bahagian pelajar. Kedua, ingin saya maklumkan kepada yang baru masuk, sesi soal jawab akan dibuka setelah penceramah menyampaikan ceramah beliau. Okey. Kemudian sekiranya anda ada soalan ingin bertanya, sila typekan di ruangan chat. Okey, ataupun di ruangan Q&A yang berada di paparan bawah sebelah kanan Webex anda. Okey, kemudian saya akan bacakan soalan tersebut. Sekiranya anda ingin bertanya terus kepada penceramah, anda hanya perlu tekan butang unmute sahaja. Okey. Dan yang ketiga, di akhir sesi webinar kita ini nanti, saya mohon semua peserta untuk tunggu sebentar bagi sesi bergambar. Itu sahaja. Link untuk virtual background juga telah di-share di ruangan chat untuk digunakan sewaktu sesi bergambar nanti. Okey, baiklah. Tanpa membuang masa, saya jemput Encik Ching untuk kita meneruskan sesi kedua kita pada pagi ini. Silakan.
Okay. Sekejap, saya share screen. Yeah, I think they have limited me to share the screen. I cannot share. Okay. Okay. Can see my screen, right, everyone?
Yes.
Okay. Then I will continue for the section 2. So section 2 will be more on how cellular communication pushing the market to increase in IoT applications. So first, I will mainly introduce on the main application in 5G. Then we'll go through the Internet of Things. So IoT, actually, we have lots of technology that has been implemented in IoT. So for today, I will mainly focus on the narrowband Internet of Things. So because it's related to cellular communications, so NB-IoT actually is based on cellular communications base station to achieve the IoT. Then last one, I will focus on the massive machine type of communications, MMTC. So, okay. So when we talk about main applications of 5G, so here, just now I have a question like, what 5G will benefit to all the user, all the subscriber. So here will be the three main application at here. So first, we have the enhanced mobile broadband. Actually, we are referring to the terms of EMBB. So for the EMBB, actually, they are mainly aims to meet people demands in the digital lifestyle. So for the EMBB, actually, it will be mainly focused on the services which require the higher bandwidth, such as like HD, the 4K TV, or maybe the AR or VR. So for the for the application which require the higher bandwidth. Then the second one, we have the ultra reliable low latency, URLLC. So from the name, low latency. So for the URLLC, it's mainly focused on the latency sensitivity services, which to support the use cases in the real-time applications. For example, like autonomous driving, or maybe the remote surgery, or maybe the industrial automations at here. So the last one will be the massive machine type of communications. So it's like allowing, like focusing on the services that will be include like higher requirement on the connections, which for the MMTC, they will be enable the industrial player to connect the massive machine type of the device to the network. So the example is like a smart city. So smart city will be categorized at the MMTC, or maybe the smart agriculture, or maybe the smart factory or logistic. So with these three main applications, so they break through it into. So for EMBB, we must able to achieve 10 gigabit per second throughput. This is what's the theoretical things for the 5G. So for the low latency, it's like we need to minimize it into 1 millisecond end-to-end latency at here. Then for the MMTC, massive machine type communication, it will be like 1 million of device connected to the network within kilometer square distance. So when we talk about 5G at here, so 5G is grow to improve the full spectrums of the services. So it's like not longer purely focusing on I want to increase the data rates. So 5G actually they enable a new kind of work. That means they are designed connect virtually to everyone, everything together, which included like a device, or maybe object, or maybe a machine. So 5G actually they increase the spectrum efficiency here. So each applications we have from the low band to the high band. So actually low band will be ranging from like sub 1G, means like lower than 1 gigahertz, and then for the medium frequency will be like from 2G to 6 gigahertz, and then 2 gigahertz to 6 gigahertz. For the high band is the mm wave, millimeter wave, will be like from 24 gig to 28 gig. So at here we can link it into the speed of light formula, as C equal to F lambda. So like the lower the frequency, the farther the distance we can carry. So when the higher the frequency means that I have lots of the, so here for the high frequency, we need to relate it to the higher bandwidth. The higher the bandwidth, the more the data I can be transmit. So when we talk about spectrum allocated for the in Malaysia for implementing the 5G, so first we have mm wave. So mm wave is ranging from 26 to 25 gigahertz. So as you can see here, higher frequency. So means like for the mm wave, they just able to cover the short distance only. So from here, it's like mm wave, the coverage will be limited. So more cellular infrastructure need to be introduced if we are implementing the mm wave in the like macro cell or maybe micro cell. So mostly the mm wave will be mainly focusing on the location we have the like higher population or higher capacity. For example, like Pavilion Bukit Bintang area, like every day they have lots of crowded and we have populations of people there. So they will be selecting a certain location to deploy the mm wave. For maybe like a stadium, because we need to like able to cater a multiple subscriber at the same time, because stadium we need to have a lots of audience at there. So maybe they will be selected based on the scenario to implement the mmWave at here. So next will be the C-band. So C-band will be ranging in from like 1 to 5 gigahertz from here. So Malaysia will be implement 3.5 gigahertz at here. So with this C-band, actually it will be suitable for urban or maybe suburban area for 5G. And then when we talk about a low band, there will be like 700 megahertz. So this one will be below 1G. So actually this spectrum also can be applied for 4G, but Malaysia, maybe they want to using the 7 megahertz to cover the wide coverage. So mainly, so we will optimize the long range of the macro cell development. So the 700 megahertz also will be suitable for either indoor or the outdoor coverage. So low frequency, so they're able to cover the broad area. So we are selecting all of these because for the mmWave, actually we have the higher bandwidth at here. So well, for 5G, the C-band, 3.5 gigahertz and also 700 gigahertz. I cannot say they have much bandwidth at here, but for 5G, maybe roughly they have like 100 megahertz bandwidth allocated, maybe 700, maybe it will be like same as 4G, like maybe 40 megahertz on the bandwidth allocation. So next, I will be talking about the Internet of Things. So Internet of Things. So from the things, we are referring into the items at here, the physical object, which they are embedded with some of the like sensoring or maybe software or other technology. So for the Internet of Things, the purpose is to connecting and exchanging all the data with other device and system over the internet. So when we talk about internet, surely there will be IP address assigned into the device. So for the what technology has been making IoT to be possible. So first will be the access low cost, low power sensor technology. Means it's like all the sensoring technology is affordable and reliable. That's why it will be making IoT thing become possible. Next will be the connectivity. So connectivity, we are referring to the host of the network protocol for the internet that has been made to connect the sensor and then to the cloud. Is actually is a physical is a transmission mediums between the sensoring or the device thing to the internet to the cloud. So from here we have the cloud computing platform. So cloud computing platform, we are referring into maybe the cloud base or the data center. So from here, they will be processing all the data, analyzing, filtering, and then to feedback to the user against. So how does the IoT works? So actually the basic elements of the IoT device is to gather all the information. And then, as I say, broadly speaking, that's because we are internet using internet connected device. So each of, so they have their own each IP address assigning into the device. So easy thing to say IoT to related in our real life here is the fitness tracker, our smartwatch. Smartwatch also is one of the IoT device, but we are using the Bluetooth to connecting from our smartwatch to the phone, because IoT actually can be realized by a lots of technology that I mentioned. So later on, I will be share the MB-IoT. This also will be one of the technology has been implemented in the IoT. Also, Bluetooth also is one of the transmission mediums for the IoT. So we can see in the real life also we have a lot of IoT things already. The smartwatch, the fitness tracker, then be able to monitor the step has been walking every day, and then you'll be sent into your phones, and then phone you'll be analyzing and displaying into you, like maybe in the bar charts or maybe in the, so you're able to make the things happens at here. So how does the IoT works? First, we must have a device to collecting the data, and then to send collecting data, then send towards the data will be sent over the internet to the either the data center or maybe to the cloud for storage. And then at the data center there, we will process all the data and then the data center will be like processing it, analyzing it, and then will be written the instruction to the user. So the whole process cannot take too longer. If that take too longer, maybe in the industry plant, maybe we are using IoT technology, so they will be affecting the whole manufacturing plant at that. So this is how IoT works. So next, I will be focusing on the narrowband Internet of Things. Like I mentioned, there's a lot of technology. So today, I mainly focus on narrowband is because narrowband IoT will be related to the cellular communication at here. So let's just go through the details of that. So NB-IoT is a narrowband IoT. So it will be a standard as applying the low power wide area network technology, which will be connecting a wide range for the IoT device. So as I mentioned, why I'm choosing NB-IoT because it has been deploying in the GSM or UMTS or existing cellular communication network to reduce the deployment cost to achieve the smooth upgrade. So it means like the operator, they can provide the IoT services to their customer by upgrading just some of the software thing on their existing base station, so they're able to enjoy the IoT services. So here will be save all the costs on the implementation already. And the other technology, maybe we can, maybe you all have heard LoRaWAN. So they need to build their own station, or they need to build their own antenna to receive the information there only to pass through to the data center. So by using the IoT, NB-IoT, they're able to save the costs. So with the NB-IoT support the efficient connections of the device with longer standby time, high network connection requirements, and also increase the battery lifestyle for more than 10 years. So taking the simple example is like our smartwatch, yeah. So you can see how long you want to charge as well, because it not require a very higher power consumption at here. So the battery life, it totally save the battery life at here. So with the NB-IoT, we're able to achieve the ultimated in the costs coverage and also the power consumption, and also we're able to connect lots of number of the device together. So let's go through the specifications of the NB-IoT. So as the name narrowband. So narrowband actually is either on 180 kilohertz or maybe 200 kilohertz at here. So the standard are allowing to transferring up to 250 kilobit per second for the uplink and also the downlink, and also they offer a much longer latency, like 1.6 to 1 seconds at here. So for the NB-IoT is fully in the half duplex. This means they only allow a single party to transmit or receive at the same time. Just allow one path of the transmission only. So their transmitter power also quite low, just only like roughly 20 to 23 dBi here. So when we're talking about NB-IoT, it will be related to cellular communications. So they have a few way to implement the NB-IoT in the cellular band. So first, we can use the GSM band standalone. So from the whole GSM band, we can allocate one like 20 kilohertz, mainly for the IoT services only. Or maybe we can using the channel spacing in the LTE services, like because between uplink and the downlink for the LTE transmission, we need to have a guideband in between. So the guideband, maybe we can allocate only a small portion there, mainly focus on the IoT transmission. Or maybe we can, as on the existing bandwidth of the LTE, we just slot in like 200 kilohertz at here for the in order to achieve the NB-IoT transmission at here. So with the NB-IoT, the low frequency signaling bands, we're able to provide a larger travel distance at here, because narrow band, the frequency band is much more lower. And then the propagation characteristics also is good. You're able to penetrate through the wall also, or the metal conduit. So as I mentioned, the power consumption is very low. So at here, we were able to save the battery life. And the battery able to support like more than 10 years at here. So actually, the MB-IoT has been officially accepted as a 5G standard at end of 2020. So what's the benefits MB-IoT has been accepting as the 5G at here? So after the MB-IoT has been classified as a 5G standard at here, so even the IoT device able to access into the 5G core network and enjoying the 5G edge computing and also the network slicing services. Like as I mentioned, the MB-IoT latency will be much more longer at here. Like I mentioned just now, it will be in like 1.6 to 10 seconds. So once we building the the IoT into the 5G network, so we able to save, we were able to reduce the latency of the time. Yeah. Okay, then let's go through how MB-IoT works. Because for MB-IoT, there will be involved for the cellular base station here. So first, all the I taking example for the smart meter, smart water meter example. Okay, first of all the device will be keep on disconnect to the network. They will not like always connecting to the our base station. So once we have the data to transmit on the our device, then the transmission will be established the connection set here. So from here, once the data, the connection has been established, so the data will be sent over from the our device to the base stations. And then the device will maintain the configuration times there. So once the data has been done transmit, it will be disconnecting back, like it will be total disconnected. Then our data, the collected data will be transmit via the transport network to the core network, and then they will be sent into our data center or maybe cloud for processing it and then or analyzing all the data, and then at the end they will be return it into the user. So when it return it, the connection will be established again for transmitting here. So we can see mostly for the IoT device, it will be on the standby time. So that's why we are able to save the battery life, and also we are not require the higher power consumption for transmission and here. Since like IoT things, we are transmitting mostly on the data only, so we not require higher battery at here. So next, I will be talking about on the MMTC. So as I mentioned, MMTC is a massive machine type of communication. It's like we're connecting multiple devices together. So it's referring to the IoT as well. So massive machine type of communication actually is a set of communication between the machine, or maybe we can referring into, we call it like a machine to machine communication. Also will be classified as an IoT. So either it can be wire or wireless network, where the data generations like information exchange all will be occurring at here without any interventions from humans. So MMTC actually is a wireless connectivities of the network to the lots of the like millions or billions of the equipment to the network. So MMTC actually considered as a key progressive for the from the Internet of Things to the Internet to everything. That means like previously, like we just mentioned of Internet of Things connecting to things. Now we able to MMTC is connecting into everything, like included the object, machines, or device. So such network actually will be much more secure and reliable, and it's easily to expand it based on the high capacity and also the low latency to support the range of communication via a difference of the frequency band. So as I mentioned, MMTC actually here implementation will be much more lower cost for the IoT, and also the penetration will be good. So there are some features on the MMTC here. First, it must be support a higher density of device, support long range, lower data rate, and then the much more lower on the cost, and so the battery life, and also support on the asynchronous access for the device. So when we talk about MMTC at here, actually they will be introduced 5G, the next generation mobile network. So next generation mobile network assumed as a potential solution to support the MMTC offering a single platform at here. So the communications will be like involved in the millions of the IP address at here. So to support, in order to make the connection more efficient and safety at here. Then like MMTC will be connecting from machine to machine either, or device to device, or maybe vehicle to vehicle. So the communication able to establish at here. So for MMTC, actually it's require a 5G standalone network in order to achieve the low latency of the network. From the, just now I explained that we have the non-standalone and standalone network for 5G. So for the non-standalone, mainly it will be focusing on the applications on the enhanced MMTC, the broadband, the bandwidth requirement. So for the standalone, we will be focusing on the ultra reliable low latency and also the MMTC applications. So currently in Malaysia, we're still not deploying any standalone network at here. So maybe in future, we will go through how the industry player wanted to plan their IoT things towards the 5G networks. So for the 5G IoT, I will go through some details on the 5G and IoT. So this technology is not just like a new generation of wireless technology. Actually, 5G Foundation has been released full potential on the IoT things. So IoT ecosystem, it will be integrated with the computer device, digital machines, and also the other device to enable the transferring the communications or exchanging the data between the device to device. So the major component on the IoT, first we must have the connectivity, and then the data processing, and then the sensoring, and also on the user interface. User interface is referring to the our mobile apps. Yeah. And then as we see that the 4G, existing 4G networks was designed primarily focus on the mobile data, mobile service only. But they have some limitations, included the poor supports on the simultaneously connections or higher connection, and also there are higher power consumption in 4G network. That's why we have introduced the 5G in IoT, which the wide spectrums, they're able to increase the overall bandwidth, then allow the massive amount of IoT device connecting together. Okay, so let's go through some of the advantages of the IoT things at here. First, over the 5G. First is the greater speed in transmission. So with the 5G network, like our data rate will be in 10 gigabit per second. So we're able easily to access the data, transferring the file or program anytime. So next will be the increasing number of device connected. So 5G impact on the IoT clearly like increase the number of devices that are connecting together. So all of the device able to connect with each other in real time to exchange their informations, everything. So example is like in the industry plant that we're talking about thousands of the connections together. Like just now also you all have been go through the video has been shared during the break time. Actually, you can see the smart factory at China. Actually, they're implementing a smart factory. Means it's like the factory, we don't have any worker at there. We mainly using the IoT thing device AI to controlling all the machine in the manufacturer. So this is one of the benefit of 5G can bring to the on the industrial part. So next, low latency. So actually, what's mean by latency here? Latency is the time passed between the order given on the smart device until the action has been fully occurred. So in the 5G, we have a lesser time compared to 4G at here. Then the next one will be the network slicing. So the operator can be like slicing virtually the network into the different subnet at here. So to cater different type of services that we're offering. So this one all will be the main application advantages for the 5G over the IoT. So when we're talking about a 5G IoT, we can relate it into a smart city. So like maybe we can have smart traffic solutions to control all the traffic light. Also maybe it's a smart parking solution. Then we're able to manage the empty or available parking slot in the real time. So the user able to knowing where's the parking slot. Actually, the smart parking has been implemented by one of the use case by TM at SS15. So they have installed the camera to monitoring all of the parking slot available and then update them to the user. This is one of the use case and be testing by TM. So for example, we can have a smart public transport. Then we can have the more punctuality time or where the public transport located at, or maybe we can updating the real-time information to all the user, or maybe smart utilities by applying like remote monitoring, or maybe a smart water meter by Air Selangor, or maybe the TNB, the electricity meter. So from here, maybe they're able to access on the how usage has been used, or maybe the building system also able to directly go through the Internet of Things. Or maybe a smart street light to controlling the density of the light and also etc. Also smart the waste management means is that we can optimize the schedule on the waste collection at here. Or maybe the environmental protection, smart environmental protection is like maybe we can able to notify the user the real time of the air or the surrounding the temperature, or maybe the flood like recently Malaysia occurring a lot of flood issue, right? So maybe we can implement the sensoring of the some of the drain there to monitor the water level, so they're able to notify the Majlis Perbandaran, or maybe they can directly using the user interface like mobile apps to indicate all of the user, they're able to notify what's happening real time at the outside there. Or maybe we can have a public safety, like we can real-time tracking and monitoring all the hazardous situation has been occurred in the city. So there are a lot of the things able to implement at the 5G IoT. So actually for reason the 5G IoT things they have been not much implemented by the country. So they have some limit of resources on regarding on it. So I've been trying to go through some details and then sharing it for you all on today. So that's all will be my the section 2 topic sharing at here. So now I will be sharing on some of the real our base station increment, how it look like. So this one example will be at the rooftop. So first we must have an cabinet to storing all of the equipment at here, like the heart of the equipment, the processor, everything will be stored at the equipment. And then the equipment also we have the rectifier, like convert AC to DC, and then DC will be supplying into the our equipment at here. So here we have the antenna facing into different of the direction. So example, this antenna will be mainly covering the subscriber in this area, and then this will be covered in that area. And then we have the cabling running from our cabinet all the way to the equipment here, and then to the antenna. So okay, next one will be, so this one will be the 5G base station has been used in the 5G demonstration project at Langkawi. So this one will be the cabinet. Then when we are doing planning, we need to know how much is the power consumption for all the equipment in order for us to fix the rectifier module, how many kilowatt it need to be calculated here. So actually how much actually all what your study at the in Polytechnic actually all is be applying during the works, like how I want to fix the how many kilowatt. So we have the formula for voltage and current. So I need to calculate how much current has been used by the equipment in order for us to implement to design the rectifier at here. So we have the BBU at here. This one will be the baseband unit. It's like a hard main central equipment managing processing board at here. Will be connecting to the antenna system. So here we have the battery. So same all of the equipment we need, maybe they have some interrupt issue or power trip on the side. So you still can adjoining the services, right? That's why we need battery at here to stand by. Then this one will be the base station tower. And then we go through the detail on the equipment here. So as I mentioned, most of the use case in Malaysia will be implement non-standalone. So we need to have the 4G antenna here. So as this design, we are separating it into the main three sector. So each antenna will be facing or cover the certain geography area at here. So at outside there here will be the antenna for 5G. So if you all notice, maybe you all walking around the city, you all can notify. They have the small, it's a square side antenna at here. So mainly this one will be the 5G antenna. So if you all have been across the city at KL, because currently mainly 5G NSA will be implemented on the Kuala Lumpur KL area, or maybe Putrajaya and Cyberjaya area. So this one will be the antenna for the 5G, and then this one will be the 4G antenna. Okay, that's all for my sharing for today.
Okey, itu untuk sesi 2. Sekiranya para peserta ada soalan, boleh typekan di ruangan chat untuk saya bacakan, ataupun boleh juga bertanya secara terus kepada penceramah dengan unmute button mic masing-masing lah. Tapi sebelum tu saya akan baca dulu soalan yang telah di-type di ruangan chat. Baik, soalan yang pertama daripada teknologis Muhammad At-Tarmizi. Okay, new technology means new devices need to upgrade. Is there any special course or training needed to get the certified installer for 5G? This is because we want to help our student get hired by the telco company. Is there any training provided so that we can give our student? Yes.
Okay. If we are talking about on the industrial things, like maybe you want to apply job in the telecommunication field, the installer maybe will be, because most of the, we can go through the planning detail. It's like MCMC allocated the spectrum to the operator. Then the operator will be like planning. Then they will be hire the vendor. Like I'm the vendor. So we are helping the telco to doing the planning, or we sell our equipment to the operator to build their network. Actually, we are providing the equipment on the engineering services, the installation there. So from here, for vendor, we will looking on this local subcontractor to assist us on the installations, or maybe some of the testing using the test gear. So the training will be provided, will be from the vendor. Vendor will be assist, because as an example, I'm looking for a company A to helping my company for the installation. So my company will provide some of the basic training to the operator, the contractor, on how to handle this equipment, how the installation will be, or everything. Then from the assisting the subcontractor company, they also will be provide some basic installation skill to them. Yeah, and then regarding the test, the training mainly will be from on the vendor to the subcontractor, because from the vendor side, we also will be organized or maybe a workshop to the operators as well, informing them how they want to handle the equipment, what's the capacity, or maybe all the equipment spec are there. It's like some of the optical module has been implemented into the network. So I cannot say will be mainly purely on the 5G training, but because when we are referring to the device, all will be the same. Like how I want to handling the 4G and device actually are almost the same. Just the size may be different and everything. The installations skills still the same. Like how you want to connect the coaxial cable from our antenna to the radio remove unit. Let me share. So from antenna, we will be connecting to this we call it RRU, radio remove unit. So as antenna is a passive equipment, right? They did not this means like they don't need require any power to propagate the signal. So they will be providing some of the training, like how you want to handling on the wait a moment. How to connecting from the coaxial cable to here, how to install then the antenna, how we want to facing it, because antenna actually we can install it, turning it antenna to lower bit to cover the certain area. It's not like all antenna will be facing like the straight only. So actually some of the side we will be like adjust the antenna below a bit to covering the certain area. But with the current the MIMO or maybe the massive MIMO technique, actually inside the antenna array, we can classify it into the certain portion, like maybe the first 3 row will be mainly focusing on the high-rise building, or maybe the middle and then the lower. Yeah. Hope I'm answering your question.
Okay, macam mana? Teknologi misi okay?
Or maybe you can asking.
Loud and clear, loud and clear.
Dia tanya. Alright. Okay. Soalan seterusnya berkaitan dengan NB-IoT. Okay. Boleh Encik Ching berikan spesifik example bagaimana cellular operator di Malaysia venture dalam IoT ni? Macam contoh tadi Encik Ching bagi contoh tentang TM dah buat satu projek which is smart parking di SS15 kan. Kalau cellular operator macam mana pula dia buat dalam IoT ni? Sebab kita pakai NB-IoT kerana cellular operator menggunakan narrowband punya frekuensi, right, untuk IoT. Itu saja soalan.
Okay, how does the operator that implement this kind of IoT services is like example, like just now I mentioned, actually TM, they have go through one of the use case at SS15 regarding the smart parking. So first they will be installing the camera into real time to detect the location on the parking. So why we mention is the real time or maybe a low latency is like we're using a 5G network to transmit the info that we've been collecting from the camera example. Then you'll be sent to the example to the TM1 to process all the data, and then it will be displayed in real time to the actually the project is cooperation with the Majlis Perbandaran Subang Jaya. So for Majlis Perbandaran Subang Jaya, they're able to monitor their parking slot there, like is it any illegal parking there? So they're able to detect based on the camera. So how we want to implement the 5G IoT things, like I mentioned, the smart city. So first, we need to have the sensor. So sensor, there will be detecting some information, right? Sensor mostly like detecting heat or maybe information. Then it will be directly transmitting through the nearby base station that will be connecting to the sensor. So then you will go through the cellular network, transmit until the connect to their owner database. They will have some AI program to process all the data, how it work, like maybe they're analyzing the data, then only they will be transmitting back to the user or maybe through the app to display all the information detail on here. Yeah, because we are talking about cellular means it's like we are using existing base station, like maybe 2G, 3G, or 4G services, to transmitting the information to them. Example, I can give another example is like, if you all realize our road there, we have the covering a drone there. So I think I forgot which operator already. They are implementing, because we are laying the cable below there. Maybe some of the thief, they want to churi, because there's a bursy, right? We can take it for a drive. So they're installing the sensor on the cover there. So once someone has opened, they will trigger alarm to the owner. So they're able to receive the information. Oh, someone is breaking down to our fiberization things already. Yeah. So this is some of the applications that offering by the main operator at Malaysia, because they are selling their service to the market user. So some of that I want to doing something, so I need to buying the services from the operator. Like I have the device, then the operator will provide the transmission media, the cellular base station, and then all the way until transmit to their the owner data center for them to monitor and everything in order to feedback the information back to the user again. Yeah. Hope I'm answering your question.
Okey. Soalan seterusnya berkaitan network virtualization. Okey. Boleh tak Encik explain bagaimana network virtualization tu? Pelajar minta Encik ringkaskan atau berikan analogi yang mudah difahami tentang network virtualization.
When we talk about virtualizations, it mainly more on the cloud base already. Ringkas, like, okay, for existing, mostly like we are, I think cloud also has been familiar for everyone already. Like we are, previously we have the pen drive for storage. That means like how many gig, how many gig. So now we are transferring all into cloud basis already services. So I cannot say cloud basis don't have any hardware. They still have some hardware, but they have not much of hardware comparing to the existing technology. So the virtualizations is like all will be based on cloud, internet, or maybe web browser already. So it's like they processing the data on the how I want to wait. Let me. Virtualizations. Like more, I will be running on the software basis already. Like easy thing to be explaining here is like cloud basis services is like we are not longer to install more on the hardware. Like I have mentioned, right, the 5G architecture, the 5G core network, mainly it will be on the cloud basis already. So it's like each of the location there will be it will have the edge cloud services at there, which connecting to the nearby base station in order to provide the main application on the 5G. So it's like all will be based on software basis on really. It's like I still have hardware, but mainly the configurations or I can able to access using the internet to the cloud. But the two detail how they implement cloud in the core network, this one I cannot explain more clearly because I'm not still focusing on the cloud network, because I'm mainly focusing on the RAN and also the transport network side. So for the cloud network also, I has been studying my own and then like talking with my other colleague to understanding more on the cloud. But based on my understanding, they are implementing the cloud base. And I'm apologize if I cannot answering more clearly on how they implement the cloud base on the core network, 5G core network.
Okey, tak apa. Thank you. Okey, soalan seterusnya daripada Encik Muhammad Hafizullah. Mr. Ching, adakah peralatan 3G terdahulu seperti modem, router, antena dan sebagainya boleh diganti atau dinaik taraf ke 5G?
I think this one, no, cannot. We cannot like upgrading the existing device to supporting 5G because to supporting 5G because it's totally different kind of technology applying between 3G and 5G. So we cannot like simply upgrade from the modem or router or antenna. If you are referring to the antenna for the base station, because antenna, how we design antenna, we based on frequency spectrum. Like I mentioned, for 5G, we are using different kind of the frequency spectrum for it. It's totally different. So that's why we require to install another new 5G antenna at the base station. So they are totally different entity here. So we cannot simply upgrade the existing device in order to support. Even like your phone. If your phone does not support for 5G, you need to purchase a new 5G phone in order for you to enjoy the 5G services at here. Right? The previous like 3G sunsetting, the shutdowning the 3G services, MCMC or maybe all of the operator has been provide a clear guideline to everyone. If your phone just purely support for 3G, then you need to change your phone into affordable 4G phone at here. Yeah.
Okey. Soalan seterusnya daripada Hani. Mr. Ching, how carriers are transitioning from 4G to 5G? How carriers are transitioning from 4G to 5G?
The carriers that you are referring to here is like the frequency or bandwidth, right? Because based on the terminology that I shared just now, the carrier will be on the at the telco base, the carrier mostly we are referring to the spectrums or the technology. Is it you are referring to the frequency and the bandwidth?
Saya rasa ya. Hani boleh respon? Saya rasa ya.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Okay.
Transitioning from 4G to 5G. Like I mentioned, for 4G and 5G, actually we are using a different kind of technology. So you can see that here, like the carrier, mainly we are referring into the body for the whole network transmissions. So mainly we are referring into the frequency band and also on the bandwidth. So first, the body will be different. The frequency will be different because 5G and 4G, they are using a different type of the frequency band for the transmissions. And then for the bandwidth also will be much more different. For 4G maximum for each of the carrier, they're able to support 20 megahertz. But for 5G, we are like introduced on the large bandwidth in order to cater the higher capacity, higher bandwidth, or the others application at here. So the both thing are different at here for 4G and 5G on the carrier. Hope I'm answering your question.
Okay, Hani harap menjawab ya. Okey, ada soalan daripada pelajar. Can this 5G give us more job opportunity? Maybe they are afraid with the IoT things which we are transitioning to all AI, all those things.
Actually, 5G they have bring a lot of benefit to the among us. They have still have opportunity at here because first we're talking about job opportunity because it's the operator or maybe DNB, just now it's DNB, they need to upgrade their network. So they have a lot of opportunity. As I can sharing at here because recently it's the pandemics, right? Like our pendatang asing cannot like travel like enter to Malaysia at here. So actually for currently a subcontractor, they have like a lack of the worker to support for their existing work. That's why there's a new opportunity for us, for Malaysians, to grab it. It's either whether you can tahan or you cannot tahan on it. So like slowly, like currently like a few project is running on is like maybe for the MCNC Jendela project or other the DMB project running on. They have a lot of job opportunity in telco base for now, because we are now introducing a new technology here. So we need to expert to studying more on the backhaul solution, transport network solution, or core network solution at here, in order for us to implement this kind of services to the mobile operator or to the user. So like telco industry, it will be keeping like updating or upgrading on the technology. So there will still have demanding on the job opportunity at for here. Yeah. So don't worry for the job opportunity. But broadly sharing at here, because entity for diploma, like diploma holder and degree holder, maybe their job opportunity will be much more different. Yeah, I just can be truly mentioned here. That's why I'm further my degree to get more chances on the job opportunity. I cannot say it's like, oh, diploma, no. They still have the lots of the our subcontractor, they are only based on the diploma holder only. So they are helping us. Even like most of the our subcontractor, their technical skill are more advanced comparing to us, because they are handling all the equipment all the time, like how the connection, the table, like fiber, the bending, the losses, everything. Like subcontractor, they were more to like using the optical power meter to measuring all the power meter. Actually, some I also learning from them. They are more experienced on comparing to us, because they're handling all the item every day. So they are more expert actually. I cannot say diploma susah nak cari kerja. No, some diploma holder like more of the our subcontractor, they are like the skillful technical skill, the hands-on skill are more better comparing to us. Yeah.
Ya, ada soalan? Okey, kalau tak ada saya akan terus baca dekat ruangan chat ya. Okey, ini soalan berkaitan dengan handover, Mr. Ching. Bagaimana proses handover di antara satu sel yang sel ini masih menggunakan 4G dan sel seterusnya menggunakan 5G. Macam mana transition handover dia nanti?
Okay, for the one cell, like mainly purely for 5G only or 4G only, for currently that will not occur. Like for now, the implementation state is like each of the what's government fix is like, first we need to strengthen or 4G coverage than 5G, because 5G coverage is much more smaller compared to 4G. So this kind of handover thing from 4G to 5G for currently will not happen. And also in other countries also we don't have such a use case first, because if we referring into pure 5G network, currently most of the standard and the patterning still in the discussion by the IoT or maybe TGBB. So when it comes, because handover is another technology or maybe another technique to be discussed more detail, but for currently, maybe when we reach that time, then the 3GPP or IoT, they all will be fixed some of the standard or how the handover occurring between the 4G and 5G, because every technology at here is fixed by IoT or maybe or 3GPP. If standard that released for 5G, even from 3G to 4G, 4G to 5G, all has been fixed by 3GPP, one of the organizations for all of the standard. Then how 3GPP they are getting all of these standard actually is promote by all of the vendor around the world. Like we have Nokia, Ericsson's, and also my company, Fiber Home, also the Huawei or maybe ZTE. So all of the vendor or player, they will be like keep on R&D, like invest on which technology or which technique I can be applied. Then they will be proposing to the 3GPP. 3GPP will run through all the details on the testing, or is a reasonable technique to be applied in this network. Then only there will be pattern in out, or maybe they will announce it. These of the one of the standard have been implemented by which vendor or what, and then they will be implemented in their network. Because vendor is the main industry player at here, because we are like implying like we are selling, or maybe we are like promoting our equipment or our technology to all the operators, or maybe now it's DMB, like, oh, maybe my company able to provide like which of what are the items are there. Yeah, hope I'm answering your question.
Okay, hopefully that answer ya the question. Okay, next question daripada pelajar Nur Farah Farzana. Mr. Ching, why sometimes if we call by WhatsApp voice, the voices that we hear is not clear when we call by using cellular, direct cellular?
Oh, means direct cellular, you are referring to 2G, right?
Yeah.
Okay, like I mentioned, 2G now for Malaysia planning, they are mainly focusing on the voice services. But for 4G, like you are calling through WhatsApp, means that we are using a voice call over IP already. So it's like if calling through WhatsApp, it mainly on the LTE part. So LTE part, that not clear, or maybe interruption because of the 4G signaling weak, or maybe the coverage has been no good, or maybe because like I mentioned, the voice occurring for 4G network will be purely on the core network. So from your when you make a call, you need to connecting to your nearby mobile station, and then for your nearby mobile station, they will be go through the transport network all the way to the core network. So maybe there's some coverage issue on that. Will be affecting on the voice, maybe not clear, or maybe anything. Like I'm taking one of the example, like Nippon Hidayah calling me through the normal phone call, because I'm in the staying in the condominium, like in a higher floor level, example like 10 or 15. So the propagation, the antenna maybe that not facing it directly to my units. So at here, maybe it will be some of the signal fading at here. Maybe the signal when it reach until my unit, because there are a lot of wall penetrations of the signal train here will be big. That's why mostly I will be communicating with Pan Hidayah through the WhatsApp call, because I have a home Wi-Fi at here. So everything that go through home Wi-Fi, if it's nearest to me, the base the antenna spot. Yeah. Okay, hoping I'm answering your question.
So,
yes.
Can I ask a question?
Okay, sure.
So, is there any way or any possibilities for the normal people, for the ordinary people like us, to access and use the internet independently without depending on the telco service? Is there any hacks or technique to use independently?
No, this one is totally no. If you're referring you want to build your own internet, you still need to connecting, like, okay, example I'm taking, how when you're opening Google, you're browsing Google, maybe you're looking for something. How does its communication access at here? So first, like maybe you are browsing internet. So as an example, I'm open YouTube. Okay, I'm using my laptop. Then I tap www.youtube.com. Then it will routing me to the directly YouTube. So how the communication for us directly to access the YouTube server? First, okay, they will be connecting, example, to your nearby base station, or maybe in a home Wi-Fi, or maybe the Wi-Fi router, everything. Then it will connecting same, transcend to the transport, then to the transport network to the core network. Core network, if you're browsing internet, they will be link you into the internet server. So how we want to communicate with the YouTube server, because I'm getting the services from YouTube. So the transmission actually will go through the main YouTube server there. How they transmit is like, maybe I will go through the transmission from Malaysia, Then connecting through the submarine cable, the information will be transmitted until we get at the go until the YouTube there for us to access the all of the information at that. So in order for you to build your own internet, I can say it's totally no from here. Yeah, because you can be no, totally no. Yeah, cannot. We cannot having our own internet, build our own internet here because it's like it require a lot of the connections until the internet server for us.
So one more question, sir. How does the wireless Wi-Fi printer function, sir? There are some printers, right, which functions via Wi-Fi. If we connect our computer's network router to the printer's Wi-Fi, it connects wirelessly, right? How does the Wi-Fi mechanism of that printer works?
Actually, this one also can be referring to the IoT. But the IoT, this one is not based on cellular network. It's based on the Wi-Fi signaling transfer the information. How does it work? Simple thing as an IoT. So we have a device. Means like from here, our device and the printer must have the same tones of the frequency. So in order for it to receive the information that you are transmitting into the printer. So it's just the same thing as an IoT. So we have the connectivity using the wireless, and then we have some device transmitting the data to the printer to receive, and then it will processing it, like example, to print it out.
So isn't possible to create our own internet using that mechanism, sir?
Sure, it's all based on the Internet of Things. Can.
Oh, so that means we can create our own internet using that mechanism, is it? Is it possible or not? Just asking.
If you are taking like just purely for transmitting data from one point to another point using wire Wi-Fi, it will be possible. But if you are using you are speaking that I need to browsing the internet using the atom, that's no. Your own. You still need to across the network, go until the upper layer uplink of the network for you to able to access the internet server for you to get the services.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okey, saya akan bacakan lagi soalan di ruangan chat daripada Logan. Sir, now our government change underground fiber cables everywhere. Dia tanya, okay. The older cables didn't support 5G or other purpose? Dia tanya, why our government is changing underground fiber cables everywhere? Is it because the older cables cannot support 5G or other purpose?
It's not like the older cable cannot support for 5G. Like TM initially, you all go through the plan will be on streamix. Streamix will be mainly focusing on the pure copper line. So now you're able to access fiber, right? You are using Unify. Unify actually is transmitting using fiber. So maybe currently governments we are referring is the fiberization work. Yeah, governments they are changing, not like I say it must be changing into underground fiber cable everywhere, but how the communication established, I need a fiber cable to install. So we need to like correct the rule. If you realize that at the midnight, so they have some cross-section area, the big dark cable, that one actually is the fiber cable, but inside the dark cable there have a lot of multi-core there. So maybe one big dark cable able to support like a few terabyte already. Yeah. So it's like governments now is like mainly like I say it's like evolved from the old streamings like copper line into the fiber. Means it's like I believe that some of the certain area they still unable to receive the unified services. That's why government now work hard on that with all the TM or maybe other vendors on the fiberizations installations. Yeah, in order for enable all of the user able to enjoy the highest internet speed. Yeah. Hope I'm answering your question.
Soalan seterusnya, what is the requirement or expectation yang as a student perlu ada sebelum join the industry? From your point of view, maybe ini from the industry point of view, apa yang what are the requirements and expectation yang student perlu ada sekarang?
To be honest, here, first thing, if you are the fresh graded, when they are going for applying the job, people looking for your CV, first thing they will go through is, to be honest, is pointer. They will go through whether what's the pointer they will receive. Is it you are first class honor, or how much pointer? Is it above 3.0? So this one is the I can say is a ticket for the our industry player to review all the fresh graded. So pointer also is one of the important things. And then next will be your communication skill. I can big this way, and communication skill, and then the work attitude. This one you need to have ready before you are entering for the industry. But during interview, must be prepared. It's not I'm 4.0 pointer. I can directly go interview. No, you need to study the company background, go through what are the business they are doing. Like because you are applying job to all the company, you just I just submit resume to all the company, but you need to study the background of the company first when you're doing interview, because they will asking you on the like how you understand on my company, what's your planning, or maybe you're joining my company, what's the benefit you're able to bring to me. So you need to understand how this company, what's their directions towards after a few years, what they're planning to do, to understand the industry requirement first. Need to be prepared before you enter the industry. And then next will be the work attitude. Need to be like, I cannot say it's like maybe lazy tak nak bekerja lah ni, maybe time's out. As the telco industry, we need to keep on learning. Even for now, I also keep on learning on the new technology introduced for me. Yeah, like telco industry keep on changing. A lot of technology introduced by this 3GPP or everything. We need to keep on updating on the latest new for us. Yeah. Hope I'm answering your question.
Baik, soalan seterusnya berkenaan dengan internship. Adakah company Fibercom sendiri menerima pelajar untuk internship, terutama sekali bagi pelajar diploma?
Okay. This question. Wait for a moment. Actually, Fibercom do receive the internship for now. We have some students from MNU joining us at the industrial training. As a for diploma stage for my company, currently we are not looking for any diploma internship for now, because as I mentioned, we are the vendor. Mostly our requirement will be on degree for the internship. So they have still a lots of like one of my friends just graduating, joining my company. Previously, he's intern at some of the company which helping the Maxis or Celcom DG to building their core network. So every day he told me that every day he need to stay at the server room there to go through the detail on the config. You still have chance to go through the others, but for my company currently, we are not looking for internship on the diploma. Yeah.
Okey, saya harap itu menjawab ya. Okey, ada soalan yang nak ditanya daripada para peserta secara direct kepada Encik Ching.
Sir, can you please share the slide that you presented all this while to us for a reference purpose, sir?
Can. Later on, I will be forwarding this one to Puan Hidayah.
In PPT format.
Okay. Sure.
So knowledgeable and informational.
but mainly for the student only.
Yes,
Please.
yes. I'm student, sir.
Sure. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okey, ada soalan lain? Okey, ada satu soalan lagi di sini. Kalau kita tengok sekarang, okey, kita baru beralih daripada fasa pandemik ke endemik. Sewaktu pandemik, boleh dikatakan banyak juga syarikat telco yang implement kerja secara online. Betul? Okey.
Yes.
Tapi sekarang bila kita dah pergi ke endemik, adakah masih banyak lagi company yang menerapkan kerja secara online ataupun sebenarnya waktu dekat fasa pandemik hari tu hanya bahagian-bahagian tertentu sahaja yang secara online, tapi bahagian yang macam crucial kita terus sahaja kerja secara face to face.
Yes, like okay, when we talking on the pandemic starting on the earlier of 2020, actually all the people starting to work from home. And then work from home, we are requiring like maybe the operator doing their planning, they didn't expect at this hour they have a huge subscriber will be connecting to the base station or subscribing the internet, like maybe your home Wi-Fi. So when started the work from home, this one work from home applying to all the residency in Malaysia. So actually, for telco base and operator, we are like keep on upgrading our existing base station or maybe the services or the in order for us to cater the huge capacity has been applying to the certain area, like because suddenly like before this small all is like work at office far from their residency. So when telco doing the planning, they also need to consider maybe the when is the peak hour for us to configure everything. So they will be affecting for the telco industry still working. Like is it for us applying work from home? I can say in telco based industry, we are referring into the two part, separate into two part. First will be on the PSIS, like me, I'm the PSIS manager. We are like looking on the directly communicate with the planner at the operator side. Like they are raising, oh, I have this requirement. I need to build a transport backhaul with 100G. So as a PSIS, we are like need to go through study their network, proposing the solution to them based on our equipment. So pre-sale part still can be applied work from home, but we still need to like going outside to meeting a customer, clarifications on our design, doing some presentation for them. But for the presentations, we are still going to online. If can, we will be avoiding face-to-face meeting. But recently, okay, this one will be the pre-sales part. And then next, I'm talking about on the post-sales. So post-sales will be like once we customer A, operator A buying the equipment from us, then we need to implement. Implement actually will be referring into the post-sale part. So post-sale part, they will be more on like a technical engineer on the config, installations, project management, like I need to plan when the equipment arrive. I need to apply permit with TM, example, it as a TM site. Then I will need to arrange the subcontractor, provide them a training, everything, in order for them to implement installation the site until we have like final until the a final installation and configure and hand over the equipment and services to the industrial operator. So for that part, they cannot work from home. They still need to go to site because it's involving the hands-on, the actual connections and everything, the planning. Yeah, but we will still if can, we will still avoiding applying a work from home features. Yeah. Hope I'm answering the question.
Okay. Baik, soalan seterusnya daripada Encik Muhammad Hairul Muzaffar, Politeknik Kota Kinabalu. Mr. Ching, do you have any project of your company on fiber in Sabah and Sarawak?
Yes, actually my company, I just last a few weeks I just outstation to Sabah KK to meeting my customer on the fiberizations project at there. So we have, and also Sarawak, we also have, we have a project on the submarine cable with the one of the, I cannot say it's a telco, but it's one of the telecommunication company at there. They are like building the submarine cable, then they provide the services, rent the services to the operator. Yeah, we have the fiberization project at Sabah and Sarawak. As we know, how I want to say this, mainly at Sabah Sarawak will be more to like lots of rural area at that. So currently governments also, they are focusing on the Sabah and Sarawak region. Then when we when we talk about the MCMC Jendela project, actually they are mainly will be focusing on the Sarawak or Sarawak residents there, because they have some limited to access through the internet. So the fiberization work will be like a lot at the Sabah and Sarawak, honestly speaking. Yep. We have our project at there.
Okey, ada soalan lagi daripada para peserta? Okey, ada satu soalan daripada pelajar Dinesh. Mr. Ching, can you suggest DEP course diploma in electronic communication in degree? Oh, okey. Dia minta suggestion daripada Mr. Ching sekiranya dia nak sambung degree dalam bidang communication. Bidang apa yang sesuai, sebab kalau tengok di peringkat degree dia ada banyak specialization dia kan di bahagian degree.
Actually, like me, previously I also taking a DP from Politeknik. Then I'm applying to the UPU on. For me, I purely selected all on the communications courses that they offer by the all among the university. So it's totally depending on you, because I cannot say when you're studying diploma in DP and then at the end, I must go to the DP industry, because in the DP courses, we study all the basic of the electronics. It's not just like, can need to mainly focus on telecommunications, but need to depends on your interest. This one is very important. Like I'm interested on the telco. So I keep on further. After I graduated also, I'll be focusing on the telco industry. Like some of my friends or my, they are like study telco, then they are going to other industry, but on the electronic, or maybe other Intel, or maybe other company. Still, because in degree, different type of DP courses, right? Depending on you, I just can say, they have a lots of university offering the telecommunication courses right here. Like example, UTEM has some of my friends from Politeknik PSIS, they also has been received the degree offer from the UTEM at Malacca. Also UPM also can. We have the communication syllabus at here. You all can be applied. Even USM also have, yeah, a lot. But I can, based on policy of university, all of the degree, like a professional degree is under, engineering is under professional courses. So they cannot like, or maybe some of the syllabus has been studied in the diploma, so I can directly maybe shorter my degree like a year into 3 years. This one cannot. Based on my university previously, I just can apply to like remove some of the courses only that have been studied in Polytechnic. It's like the basic, like example, the electronic circuit, everything. During the semester 1, I'm mostly in the semester 1 and semester 2. Then it will mean in my first year of degree, I can eliminate some of the courses, but you need to go through the application, like submit some of the, you need to get, I don't remember, syllabus. Yeah, syllabus is very important because they need to having a comparison on your what you study at diploma at Polytechnic and then compare the syllabus to degree. then they found, okay, almost similar same, then they will be issue a letter for you. Then you can directly eliminate it, no need to taking this course. But the year still 4 years, cannot like shorten into 3 years. Yeah. There's any peserta from PTSB?
Oh, okay.
Because yesterday I received one of my former lecturers from PTSB informing, wow, you are providing a pencerama to this Polytechnic.
Okay.
So is there any PTSB student here?
Yeah, any PTSB?
Rasanya macam tak ada.
Alright. Okay, Mr. Ching ada lagi satu soalan
Okay.
daripada Bob, student ya. Mr. Ching, what are the universities which offer variety of courses under degree in electrical engineering course?
Which university which offering variety of courses under degree of electrical engineering courses? I'm not very sure, but maybe you can referring into UIDM Malacca. They're offering a lot of engineering courses. They will be breaking on into a very details or maybe major on that. Maybe you can go through the UTM, because UTM more to technology. This one I'm not very sure about like which university like offering a variety courses under the electrical engineering courses. Yeah, but I can say they have a chance for Polytechnic students to further their degree in local university, because during my batch entering to the university UKM, I also they have 5 to 6 people from graduated from Polytechnic, then joining the getting the offer from a university. So they still have chance for you all to further degree. So don't worry, can apply to the applications. Yeah.
Okey, terima kasih saya ucapkan kepada Encik Ching Xiaoyang selaku penceramah webinar kita pada hari ini. Terima kasih juga saya ucapkan kepada semua peserta yang telah sama-sama menghadiri webinar ini. Okey, sampai kita berjumpa lagi di lain waktu. Okey, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.